welcome back to the best division in football. The best television show not on TV with your boys Awthentik and the Beard. Man, we got the Week 13 recap, man. It was a great weekend of football for everybody pretty much except our New York Giants. Last night, we saw Mac Jones and the Patriots get a win over the Buffalo Bills 14-10 in a game where Mac Jones only threw the ball 3 times. I tuned in around the third quarter. He was 1 for 1 for like 12 yards. I was just like, wow, this is a Beard roadmap type of game because the Patriots ran the damn ball. Now, this prompted people on Giants Twitter to downplay Mac Jones this morning. To my surprise, I will say. People saying that Daniel Jones would be 9-4 with the Patriots as well in this kind of a situation with the best coach in the NFL and a running game like the Patriots have. I mean, they ran the ball great last night with Ramondre Stevenson, Damian Harris just lighting it up on the board. But I wanted to start the show with a little bit of a rant. I told the Beard backstage, I'm getting real sick and tired of people creating these hypothetical situations to lower the bar for Daniel Jones. I think it's time we put that to rest, okay? We got to find situations where we can raise it for Daniel Jones, maybe raise the bar actually, and make him look like a better quarterback in situations where he actually plays well. Now, I just wanted to start the show like that because I feel like people were kind of ragging on Mac Jones. And in the interview, Mac Jones said, hey, a win is the most important stat. And we all know, if you've been watching football as long as I've been watching football, you know that a win is definitely the most important stat. So, just wanted to start the show like that. We got a lot to talk about here. We had 4 NFC East games. All teams from the NFC East were on the road this week. We're going to be breaking down the Cowboys-Saints game, the Washington football team at the Las Vegas Raiders, the New York Giants at the Miami Dolphins, and the Eagles came to MetLife to take on the Jets. Without further ado, let me bring in the strong side to my left side. What's poppin', Beard? How you living, man?
Hey, man, I'm doing all right. Got a little win streak going for the Washington football team,
Feeling good, feeling great.
I'm feeling good. We're going into the last week of the regular season for fantasy football. I locked up a couple of playoff spots last week. I think we're good. Our team is in for the playoffs, I believe. We're a lock already. So
Look, just the way you saying it, just swagging, I can feel the whole, like, you talking down on me right now. Like, yeah, we just locked in a spot. Like, you just pumped $10 on pump 2. It's kind of crazy, man. I'm over here in the basement of the NFC East with my New York Giants feeling like, yeah, the season's pretty much over here. But you did bring it to my attention that we're still mathematically, in it, I guess.
Look, you are in the hunt. This is the thing. Like, I don't think in the beginning of the year when the 17th game season began, I don't think we really realized, because it's just one game, how significant the difference of a season is for just one game.
Yeah.
And it really is, because, obviously now you're eliminating the possibility of anybody being 500. So you're either going to have a winning record or you're going to have a losing record. Unless you're the Lions and the Steelers, you're going to have a tie. But I guess
right.
I don't know how that works mathematically. I'm good at math, but when you bring in ties,
Yeah, that should be 500. Yep, but tie is kind of, I guess, half a win, half a loss.
Yeah. So it's a really interesting because the teams are so close. There's not a lot of games that are separating the teams. And in the AFC especially, I mean, the Patriots are the number 1 seed in the AFC now. They started out, I want to say they started out 2-4 or something like that, kind of like how Washington started out. And then you have the NFC where it's like Arizona is the number 1 seed. They look like, pretty much the best team in the NFC. I mean, you have Tampa Bay is arguably up there. I think, Green Bay, to me, Green Bay is they're on the rise. I think they're prime
at 9-3 right now.
Yeah, they're a good constructed roster for playoff football. And obviously Tampa Bay has the weapons. They have Tom Brady. I mean, that's enough right there. Dallas, who at one point in the beginning of this year, Dallas looked like they might be unbeatable.
Yeah, their offense was clicking on all cylinders, and then those couple of injuries, and they're going through the turmoil right now. I think that's going to be the test to find out if they are a real contender right now, because last week they dealt with the whole COVID situation. They had their head coach out of the game. They were dealing with Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb being banged up. So, Ezekiel Elliott being banged up with the knee injury. They're dealing with a lot over there, and I think that they're doing a decent job of getting through these, this turmoil that they're dealing with right now.
Yeah, so they've obviously dropped, as far as the top contenders in the NFC, and then the Rams. You just 1 week they look amazing, the next week they look awful. I mean even quarter by quarter, sometimes they're very inconsistent right now. And then it's like everybody else is like, the Minnesota Vikings just lost to the Detroit Lions, which was predicted by our very own Awthentik on the parlay, which is every Sunday morning at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
I love the clip, bro. I love the clip because, like, your face the whole time is like, say it. Say the Lions are going to win. Just say it. Just say it. And I'm like, all right, I'm going with the Lions. And this is just like a last, gut kind of pick that I made there. But I just felt like the Lions were due for a W, man. They're not as bad as everybody thinks, just like I was breaking it down on Sunday, man. Jared Goff is not working with a lot of weapons over there.
Look, Jared Goff, what was crazy is that there was that one pass I remember specifically where I literally was going to Twitter to type it, and the first thing I saw was a tweet from you where Jared Goff just threw a bullet, or that was a bullet on that touchdown pass. And I was literally going to go type the same thing. Like, Jared Goff looked good.
He looked good.
I mean, good.
He looked good. Definitely.
He looked good. And it's just like San Francisco loses to Seattle, and it's just like basically all the Saints lose. So it's like, now it's literally Washington and Philly are climbing up, and all these other teams are just dropping like flies. So the end of this season, we're in the stretch now.
Yeah, this is it.
For Washington, we are a different breed than most teams in the NFL right now because the rest of our games are all NFC East games.
Yeah, it really starts now. It's almost like a playoff run right now that y'all are about to make here with the ending the season with 5 NFC East games against divisional opponents.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. And I did want to give a big shout out to all of the Awthentik and the Beard viewers that sent us messages on Twitter and other social media platforms thanking us for some of our fantasy football plays this weekend, because we definitely hit on some. Look, the Sony Michel thing was crazy too, because like right before that Rams game, Darrell Henderson was announced active, and I was like, oh my God, scrambling and then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna leave it. Sony PlayStation Michel is going to stay in the lineup.
I was a little bit kind of sketchy about that one. I won't lie. And I know Plot No Power had another one that he put a couple people in his lineup.
Gardner Minshew, Dallas Goedert stack.
Yeah, that stack. He got like, I want to say 48 out of that, which is awesome, man.
Yeah, so big shout out to everybody who watches. Big shout out to everybody who's watching right now on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up while y'all are here. Let's go ahead and say some hellos to the lovely people in the chat. And I'm going to give you a wild guess who the first person here was.
Jameson? Big shout out to Jameson one time.
Shout out to Jameson, first in the building.
If you're not first, you're last.
Yep. Big shout out to Ben Bayou checking in from the
What's
West.
up, dog? What's up? I'll catch y'all on that 2K after the podcast. You know what it is. Dropping a couple threes. Finally got my career, my player out here balling, Beard. Dog, can't be stopped. 3-pointers from the top of the key, right from the wing. I'm pulling up. I'm doing everything out here. I don't even got to set my feet no more.
Oh, wait. Listen, when we get into the new crib, whenever that actually happens.
Got to get you an Xbox.
I'm going to get an Xbox.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Sunday. Always holding us down in the chat. Appreciate you, faux show. My favorite GQ name on YouTube, Mr. Edward Squires.
Shout out Edward Squires. Saw him at the Giant Overreaction in the chat, man. Appreciate you pulling up, bro. Always in the building. Definitely shout out to Edward Squires.
Speaking of the Giant Overreaction, if you guys did not catch the Giant Overreaction yesterday, as soon as we're done here, go to the description of this video, click on the link, grab yourself a drink, and watch magic happen.
Facts.
Shout out to Awthentik for the Giant Overreaction on Monday. It was a great episode. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets in the building.
Salute.
You, sir. Appreciate you stopping on by. And Marjorie is in the building. Great to see you, Marjorie.
What's up, Marjorie?
Thank you for holding us down, folks. Show. And the heavyweight champion of the world, Craig.
Top flight security, Craig. What's up, boy?
Okay, can I ask you a question? How come there was a boxing match on a Sunday night?
Well, I think it has something to do with Gervonta Davis was supposed to fight another boxer who was like the #1 contender at the time. He had a domestic kind of case or something like that. So I think they rescheduled the fight to the Sunday, the 5th or whatever that was because of it.
Gotcha. He broke his hand. Was it official or no?
I don't know if it's official or not. I haven't double checked on it, but the fight was closer than a lot of people imagined for a guy who just got thrown in there.
Yeah, for sure. Derek Lawless is in the building, throwing
Salute.
up the biceps.
Derek
We
Lawless
appreciate
left
you.
a couple of kind words on a couple of our videos, talking about how he really dug the channel, and just a couple other kind words, man. Definitely appreciate that, man. Appreciate you pulling up, man. Welcome to the Authentic and the Beard fam.
Faux show. Speaking of the Authentic and the Beard fam, shout out to Lucas.
Hey,
checking
I didn't
in
even see
from
that in the chat. That's kind
Australia.
of crazy. Shout out to
I mean,
homie
that's
Lucas
how things
one time.
kind of work here. at
Is that how we
Authentic
gonna
and the
start
Beard.
doing this? AATB? I kind of like that. AATB, man. Let's go. I like it.
Merch coming soon. Big
Coming
shout
soon.
out to the Formula Fitness in the building. What is
Sir.
going on? Cernox
what up?
Connection in the building. Says Washington football team in the playoffs or bust. That's pretty much how it's going to go for
Facts.
sure.
Facts.
Who else we got in the building? Tonio Bots in the building. What's going on, Tonio?
What's going on, Antonio? Hope the cruise was fire. I hope you had a good time.
Faux show. Derek, I wanted to bring this up really fast. Says, far from the truth. I'm from New England. People always discredit Bill at every turn possible.
Crazy.
I mean, yeah, and I wanted to say I totally am on the same page with you as far as the hypotheticals when it comes to football. It absolutely
God. It kills
drives me.
It's like if this player had this, weren't we saying that last year about Daniel Jones? If he had this weapon and he had a #1 wide receiver, but you look at Mac Jones over there, he's throwing the ball to Kendrick Bourne and N'Keal Harry fumbling, and I mean, he's got 2 decent tight ends and a good running game. I get it. And you know what else I don't like? A lot of people like to say, he's got a great offensive line over there. When a quarterback is playing well, people just ignore everything and just say, he's got a great offensive line. They're saying that about Jalen Hurts. They're saying that about Mac Jones. I'm just like, I'm tired of the hypotheticals. Let's just keep it for real. Like, I'm really tired of the hypotheticals.
No woulda, coulda, shouldas. And there's another saying. I'm not going to try and say it because it would be an instant beardism, but it's something like if something would have had a if and a but and this and that, like, you know, like it's just.
If was a fifth, we'd all say no.
That's a good one. If it was a fifth, we'd all be
They
drunk. But
love
yeah,
that on Twitter. They love that on Twitter.
It's crazy. Big shout out to LGZ Productions. I don't know if
fam?
I've seen that before.
Yeah, I think that's
Welcome.
Logan. I think that might be Logan over there.
Okay.
Shout out to
Got
Logan
you,
one time if that's him.
Old man Rob in the building.
Yes, sir. What's up, Rob? How you living?
Good to see you. And Anthony Bluegrass Picker always holding us down. We
Pew, pew,
appreciate
pew,
it
pew,
for sure.
pew. My man Anthony one time in the building.
Glock 30 is in the building.
Yes,
What up,
sir.
Glock? Good to see you,
My
sir.
man Glock in the building. What up, fam?
TVN Sports is in the building.
Yes, sir. How about them Packers? What's going on, fam? I think they was on a bye this past week.
Yeah, they were. And listen, they're getting a little healthier now too. That toe got a little bit of
That
rest.
toe. As long as that toe ain't on my Instagram feed no more, man. Good Lord.
Big shout out to Joel. Coach
going on,
Dante
Joel?
is in
Coach
the building.
Dante in the building. What's up, Dante? How you living, man? Y'all go sub up to Coach Dante, man. He's got a good channel over there doing a lot of stuff that got to do with football, a little bit of 2K action. Hey, Dante, I don't know if you're on Xbox, man, but if you ever get 5 and you want to pull up and run against me and the homies, let me know. I was telling the Beard, top of the key, I can't be stopped. The pick and roll, don't even got to set my feet no more. I'm green beaning it every time.
Big shout out to Benjamin Wynn in the building. Said I mentioned to Authentic a 24-hour stream would be fire.
Yes. I told him I got about a good 16, 17 hours for show. The next couple might be a little bit of a stretch for me. That's when I think we might have to like take turns. Maybe I'll sleep. You take guard on the stream for a little bit. I'll come back,
Dude,
hold it down.
Listen, there's no doubt in my mind we could do 24 hours. The question is could we do 48?
Oh, the first 48. Okay, that's what's up because it would be
It'd be
the
the
first
first
48
and the
stream.
last 48.
Facts.
Big shout out to Jordan Gentry. Says, your Giants season over. You're still in the hunt. Fantasy season damn near over. You got one more week. It's a struggle out here. That it is.
It's definitely
my
a
friend.
struggle out here, man. Shout out to Jordan one time in the building. What's up, fam?
Big shout out to the homie Philly Flipper. Says Minshew is officially the best quarterback in the NFC East.
I like that. I would say the best dressed quarterback in the NFC East for sure, because you talked about the Top Gun outfit. He was swagging out there.
Bruh, since the second Gardner Minshew was on a TV screen and I saw him playing college football, I was like, this dude is it.
I like this
And
guy.
then he just, every time you see him, he's got like either the mullet, the stash, the outfit. I mean, the dude, listen, he's a football player.
Yeah,
He's a football
facts.
player. That's all there is to it. And I mean, we're going to touch base on it, but it was crazy. The Flipping Sports guy is in the building also. Jaden
What's up,
the
fam?
Champ is in the building.
What up, Jaden? The GOAT in the
Jason
building.
Ramsey is in the building.
What's going on,
Make
Jason?
sure I didn't miss anybody. Yes, I listen. If you gonna do it, you gonna do it, right? That's how we
I
do
know,
it all
this man
day.
said 24. I'm talking about I can't even get to 16, 17 hours. He said, man, we do 48. All right, put me on the spot. What I'm going to be like, no, I got to say yeah, and then you're going to see me on stream. Might be the first time you see Awthentik on the stream dozed off or something.
Listen, I know you. We can talk football. It will be no problem. And if football leads into a story, and then next thing you know, we're showing medals and trophies.
I was going to say. That's facts, bro.
Oh, man. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us. We have a full show today. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up while you guys are here. Let's rock and let's roll.
Let's rock and let's roll. I like that. I like that. Shout out to the graphics department one time. You know how they do holding us down week to week on Awthentik and the Beard, man. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, we're going to start with this Cowboys at Saints game. This was a really good one here, man. Dallas defensive coordinator Dan Quinn had to step in for Mike McCarthy as acting head coach and enjoyed the sideline view as the unit he normally oversees lifted the Cowboys out of their recent struggles with a slew of big plays. CeeDee Lamb had 122 yards from scrimmage. Tony Pollard ripped off a 58-yard touchdown run, and the Dallas defense produced a drive, stalling sack, and 3 interceptions in the fourth quarter. The Cowboys, now 8-4, intercepted Saints quarterback Taysom Hill 4 times in all, 3 times in the final 7 minutes of the game, including defensive tackle Carlos Watkins' pick 6 on a screen pass that made it 27-10 with 2 minutes 52 seconds left on the clock. It was a close game entering the third quarter, but ultimately the Cowboys pulled away in a 27-17 victory over the Saints, who have now lost 5 straight. The Cowboys didn't have a perfect game plan here either. They were 2 of 13 on third down and 0 for 1 on fourth down. The Saints managed to be 5 of 14 on third down, 1 for 1 on fourth. And the Saints actually dominated the time of possession by a little bit here, 31-54 to 28-06. Total yards favored Dallas, 405 to 377 to the Saints. This was a fairly even matchup for real, and the Dallas Cowboys really just pulled away in the fourth quarter. Now, I know a lot of people going to look at the box score and they're going to see Ezekiel Elliott's 13 rushes for 45 yards. And Zeke is the kind of unsung player on the Dallas Cowboys for the 2021 season, because this is what a lot of people don't understand, and I saw a lot of this in the game. Zeke in pass protection. I remember we said this maybe last year on the podcast, and a lot of people questioned
Early
Zeke.
this season, too.
And it might have been early this season. But Ezekiel Elliott, man, is one of the best pass blocking running backs in the NFL. And I just think that with him and Tony Pollard, they have a great duo over there. Tony Pollard ended the day 7 rushes for 71 yards, and he had a touchdown. Talked about CeeDee Lamb's 122 yards from scrimmage. He had 89 yards receiving on 7 receptions. And Dalton Schultz showed up with 5 receptions for 43 yards on the day. Taysom Hill, man, he kind of struggled. I think Taysom Hill and the Saints could be a beneficiary of watching what Sirianni is doing with Jalen Hurts over there with the Philadelphia Eagles, because he's a similar style quarterback. He had 101 yards on the ground on 11 carries, but he was just 19 of 41 for 264 yards, the 2 touchdowns and the 4 interceptions. For me, that's not a great recipe. You're putting the ball in Taysom Hill's hands over 50 times. And I think he's a better runner than he is a passer. And we know he was dealing with the injury on his hand and stuff like that. So late in that game, he just struggled throwing the ball. He was inaccurate, and he couldn't really rely on the running game here. Mark Ingram really struggled in this game. 10 rushes for 28 yards. Ty Montgomery added 4 carries for 21 yards. So they had no type of running game. And in the receiving core, Deontay Harris had the 4 catches. He had the big play, 96 yards on those 4 receptions. And I wanted to mention little Jordan Humphrey. just because I like his name. But he had a pretty decent day. He had the 2 catches for 49 yards. But too many passes for me for Taysom Hill being your quarterback. Not enough running. I would have took maybe a good 10 of those passes, kept him around that 30 mark, and gave him 20 carries over trying to give him 41 passes. I know you were down in this game late, but that's just not a good recipe for the Saints. And this is the crazy thing. Before I toss this over to you, the Saints have been such a up and down team, and I wanted to convince myself that maybe this had something to do with Jameis Winston, being knocked out. We know Jameis Winston, he was having a pretty good year, 14 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He had 1,170 yards in 7 games. But I think it looked a little bit better than it really was. We know he had the 3 touchdowns in the one game where he didn't even pass for 130 yards. He had a passer rating of 26.9 versus the Panthers, but he still managed on the year to have a passer rating of 102.8 out of 158 rating, which that's really good at the quarterback position. So I don't know if this is necessarily on Jameis Winston, but it seems that the Saints have been playing down to their competition. Granted, they were dealing with Trevor Siemian there on the 4-game losing streak. They made the switch to Taysom Hill. But just a couple of games I wanted to point out here. Can't forget week 1, they blew out the Packers with Jameis Winston at quarterback, 38-3. Week 3, they took care of the Patriots, who are now the number 1 team in the AFC. They beat them 28-13. They took care of your Washington football team 33-22 in week 5. So it seems like their odd weeks were the better weeks for them until they got to week 8, and they beat the Bucs in week 8, 36-27. Now, they just got these unexpected losses here that you see. Week 2 against the Panthers, they lose 26-7. That was with Sam Darnold at quarterback. Before we found out, that was when the Panthers were riding high on their defense. They had the number 1 defense in the league for the first 3 weeks of the season. Week 4, they lost to my New York Giants 27-21. They pretty much collapsed. That if I'm the Saints in that game, I'm looking at that like a collapse. You're up by 11 points with 6 minutes left to go in the game, and you end up losing. That's a collapse. And then week 9 against the Falcons, who are just not a good team. The Falcons, I don't want to put them, in the bottom of the barrel of garbage teams in the NFL, but they're just not a really good team. And the Saints lose to them 27-25 just here in week 9. So the Saints, I don't know what it is. If this has to do with the game plan, Sean Payton, making the quarterback switch, but not necessarily giving him the right game plan to win the game, to rely on his legs more. And I think maybe he just tried to get cute and, knowing that teams know that Taysom Hill is a Swiss Army knife who can pretty much do it all. Definitely his number 1 trait would be running the ball, tough running the ball. I don't know what's going on over there with the Saints, and they were a team that's in the hunt. They're still in the hunt, obviously, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get it together. This game against the Dallas Cowboys would have been a good game to prove that you belong there, to be in that playoff hunt. And then you go out there and you lose this game pretty much in the late 3rd quarter and the late 4th quarter. It's just kind of puzzling to me. I don't really know where to really, gauge where the Saints kind of stand. I don't know what you're thinking on that, but I'm a little bit puzzled on where they stand in this NFC race.
Well, for me, there's 3 things outside this game, so Saints as a whole. The first one being, from top to bottom, it's a poorly constructed roster. It's so heavily relied upon your superstars, right? And it's funny because it kind of goes back to the whole thing, and we talk about that one episode about, paying all the money to the guys on the first line, and then everybody behind them, it's like, now look what happens. And now they lost Harris. He's suspended for 3 games. I
didn't even hear about that.
Yeah, he's suspended for 3 games. So that's the first.
Well, what
thing.
happened with him? Did he get into a little wreck during the game or something like that?
I don't remember what it was he got suspended for. I don't know if it was a substance abuse or the COVID. I think, was he part of the fake COVID card scandal?
I don't remember his name being there, but he could have been. Maybe somebody in the chat could help us out. I thought I heard maybe he got into a little scuffle or something.
But he got suspended for 3 games. So, but I mean, so the roster construction is just bad. Alvin Kamara, they haven't won a game since Alvin Kamara has been hurt. So, I mean, obviously, you got to have Alvin Kamara. And to be perfectly honest with you, I know this is probably like a very unpopular opinion, but Sean Payton is having a bad year as a head coach. I'm just going to flat out say it. When Jameis Winston was winning the game and, they had the big game against the Packers and stuff like that, it was almost like, man, Sean Payton can make anybody good at quarterback, right? Yeah. And I think that this game was a bad game plan from Jump Street. They should for DUI arrest in July.
Yeah.
Got you.
Appreciate that, Mo.
So there was a bad game plan from the beginning. Out of the gates, they
Now,
just
not
were.
not to pause you so fast, but like, you think that might have to do with the play style of Jameis Winston and prepping in the preseason for a playbook that yields for Jameis Winston? And then he goes down, and now you're kind of like, okay, now I'm panicking, and I got to go to the running quarterback that really don't suit. Maybe I don't have enough plays for Taysom Hill. Maybe that's why Jameis Winston was the starter to begin with.
I think you have to. I mean, there's definitely a little bit of that because obviously there's so much that goes into the preparation for the NFL, where it's like, as much as you want to be like, oh, it's the NFL, like you have to be prepared. You should have a game plan for both quarterbacks, no matter what happens, so you're prepared in this situation. But the truth is that you can't get snaps to everybody. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like that's just not how it works. So I definitely think that has something to do with it. But you got to remember, they were at a quarterback competition, going into this season. Like it wasn't like that was one of the jobs that nobody knew for sure who was going to be named the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just when it comes down to this specific game, when he hurt his finger, like you got to make the move because as soon as he hurt the finger, it was obviously noticeable on his passes. At
Yeah.
that point, you should have just pulled him, put Simeon in, and then used Taysom Hill as a running back because they couldn't stop him running the ball.
Yeah, and they didn't have any running game going on the whole day anyway. So I mean, yeah, you might as well.
Out of Taysom Hill's 100, what do you have? 101 yards, 110 yards. Outside of that, they had 52 yards rushing.
Yeah,
Like
that's awful.
the Saints could have won this game. The Saints should have won this game. It is I haven't been that upset about a football game in a long time as a viewer, because the Cowboys were literally the game was right there for them. The 4 turnovers killed them. I mean, obviously the last one, the pick six, like, I mean, they were still in it, but that definitely hurt them. And I mean, yeah, the missed field goal, Taysom Hill took a really bad sack. The interception, they were down 10-7 driving, and that the interception, which I personally don't think even it was an amazing play, but I don't think it was an interception. I think it should have been
You don't
called
think his feet were in?
pass. No, I think his feet were in. I think he had used the ground to assist him catching the ball. It was very similar.
We've been indifferent on a lot of these this year because you liked the Logan Thomas one earlier on, like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, and see, that's the thing too, is that to me it's like if Logan Thomas isn't a catch, how is that an interception?
I
right?
think the difference between this one is he had possession up high. It's not like Logan Thomas was catching it near the ground. I think that's what made it a little bit harder to gauge him having possession. I thought it was Brown on the interception, but it wasn't. When I was tweeting during the game, I thought it was Brown, but it wasn't Brown. It was Curse, I believe, with the interception. I think he just had possession for so long up top that now you're looking for the ball to move when he hits the ground with it. And I didn't think the ball moved when he hit the ground with it. They are like kind of different styles of interceptions for sure. But an incredible play to get the feet down, man, and just to get out in front of the receiver there. It was a really great interception, man. That Cowboys defense, on Giants Twitter, you see a lot of people talking. They want to say that Trayvon Diggs is overrated and all this. And I think a lot of people just say that because they have a lot of hate for the Cowboys in the Giants community. But, yeah, he's giving up yards. I know he's at the top of the league. He was at the top of the league as far as a couple weeks ago and giving up yards. But to be a guy out there who's, literally making those kind of turnovers and you can damn near expect one a game at least, you got to put him up there in the top conversation as far as cornerbacks in the league right now. He's doing, record-breaking numbers here.
And the thing is people want to use the definition of overrated, underrated, or the best, in to fit their narrative, right?
Right.
There is no such thing as a shutdown corner in the National Football League anymore because of the evolution of the game, the way that the game has changed. I mean, not just by the way that it's played, but the rules of the game.
Would you say that even Jalen Ramsey, not a shutdown corner?
No, not a shutdown corner. It just in the sense of what a shutdown corner used to be.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Jalen Ramsey couldn't be if that style of play was still something that is played, but it's just not. You see a few people be like, "I'm going to put this guy on the best receiver every game." You know what I'm saying? But then a lot of times, just the constant rotation of where on the field the people are playing. It's just the word is the sense of what a shutdown corner just isn't there anymore. You know what I'm saying?
So it's like threatening it, I would say, because I remember as of last season when they went into that game against the Seahawks, there was a chart that we had talked about where they were showing you Jalen Ramsey against every receiver that he went up against in 2020, and it was they were focused on DK Metcalf on there. He was shutting down all these guys. Nobody was getting like over 4 catches on him. But I do understand what you're saying 1,000% because he's the only guy who's the exception to the rule, which, that's one of my favorite sayings and one of my favorite quotes is that, the exception to the rule doesn't defeat the rule ever. And I agree with you on that. The rule is there really aren't many shutdown corners in the league. If there are, there might be one, and it might be Jalen Ramsey, and that's it.
Yeah, and so to me, it's like the yards thing is it's not like it's not a who cares sort of situation because, I mean, you need to get yards to score points, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take away from the good things that he's doing, forcing turnovers.
Yeah.
Because in today's football, you have to win the turnover battle. And obviously, if the Saints don't turn the ball over 4 times in this game, the Cowboys lose this game.
Facts.
No question about it.
Yeah.
Like, and CeeDee Lamb is phenomenal.
He's such a great wide receiver, man.
He is so good, and he is the key, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, because he opens things up for everybody. Now, and I love the way they used him in this game.
Shout out to homie G Nation in the building one time, man.
They moved him around, like they put him in different positions.
I think they could use him more. That's what's crazy. I think they could scheme him up even more. It reminds me a little bit of Odell Beckham. I went back and I looked at Odell Beckham's like games right before he signed with the Rams. I looked at his like first 5 to 10 games when he got on the field. Man, it was like immediate. As soon as he got on the field, he scored a touchdown in his first game, I believe it was, and then it was just catch after catch after catch after catch. And then you get the real catch against the Dallas Cowboys, and it's put on notice. It's like, you don't even have to look at a statistic to know that Odell Beckham was a guy that rookie year. CeeDee Lamb's the same exact way. When I saw him last year, I'm like, the catch that he made against the Minnesota Vikings, where he like literally reclined back, turned his body to make the catch. He's horizontal in the air, not even worried about his well-being making a catch like that. You can see it with your eyes with CeeDee Lamb. That's going to be a guy. And I think the Kadarius Toney could be that if they could find the right way to scheme him. The one difference between a guy like CeeDee Lamb and Kadarius Toney, though, is CeeDee Lamb is just tougher. He's just built like Khalif. You know what I'm saying?
When I saw your tweet, I was like, there's only a few people in the world that actually know what this means. And every person that knows what it means 100% wholeheartedly will agree with you.
Yeah, and Khalif is a homie that we grew up with. All the way up to about 5th grade, I felt like I was the best athlete in my whole neighborhood. Basketball, football, whatever. And 5th grade, our homie Khalif Watson came to our school, Glen Haven, and it was like, okay, you gotta go see Awthentik one-on-one. We play one-on-one, he dogs me. Khalif ended up going on to play basketball at the University of Miami when what was that white boy that could dunk that was over there in Miami too at the same time? He was in the dunk contest as a rookie. I can't remember white boy's name, but he did a dunk where he put his shirt over his head or something like that. And then Khalif ended up going to play football. He transferred to, it's not UCF, but he transferred to a small school in Florida as well. But Khalif was built like CeeDee Lamb. He was like a dark-skinned black dude, strong, skinny strong, and ripped, built just like CeeDee Lamb. And he was so hard to stop on the football field. I remember I brought him to St. Catherine's, and he was the running back the year I was quarterback. And I can remember times where we would hand him the ball, he would have the whole team. I remember a game against Pollard. There was like 8 of the kids on Khalif, and Khalif is literally the referees don't even know when to blow the whistle because when he would get contacted, he would just carry players with him down the field, and I swear he went like 40 yards, bro, with the whole team on his back, and it was like Spike.
Spike don't care.
Shout out to Spike. It was like Spike, bro. He was just dragging the little Giants along with him. And CeeDee Lamb is just that kind of a wide receiver. He's the kind of wide receiver that anybody that's a fan of any team across the league, they want that guy on their team.
Absolutely. And he opens it for everybody, Schultz, because it's just in the run game, it's so important. And defensively, the Saints played pretty good football considering, and I mean, the Cowboys, 2 of 13 on 3rd downs.
Yeah, that's not the vibes. That's not the vibes.
You're not winning a playoff game going 2 for 13.
Shout out my man Hub one time in the building. Shout out Ash Money in the building. I see y'all.
Lax 044. I saw you too, sir.
044 in the building. What up, fam?
Yeah, so you can't go 2 for 13 and win a playoff game. That's just I hate to say it. And the actual reality of this, like, yeah, the turnovers and everything, you want to look in hindsight though. That penalty call, the Saints are down 13-10, and that blindside block call completely changed the momentum of the game.
Maybe that's a give back from the interception. I mean, not the interception, the pass interference call against the Raiders on Thursday night.
I mean, that might be the worst, though, because listen, those were pass interference. Those were pass interferences.
Nah,
in the Raiders
Did
Cowboys
you see the one
game?
in y'all game? Whew. Oh my God! How do you not make that one? How do you not make that hold?
We'll talk about that later. But
how do you not make that one, but you make the one against the Cowboys? Because I mean, that one's blatant. Referee's right. You know how the referee be sidestepping down the field with the pass play? He was looking. He was just like, I ain't throwing it. Whatever.
Black gloves, black jerseys, man.
You
like
that's smart. I saw you tweet that. That's
smart football, man. You know what I'm saying? That's Belichickian right there.
That is smart. I wonder if more people gonna do that. We playing.
They
against
do
the team
that.
with
100%.
the red jerseys. I'm gonna rock the red gloves.
Yeah, 100% they do that.
Yeah, that's
it's crazy. Now you never really thought about it, but the way 100% they do that. And I say Belichickian because I heard a former Patriots player say that Bill Belichick got mad at him because he wasn't wearing the color matching gloves of the opposing team.
Wow. Yeah, that's a smart play for DBs, man, because you got to use your hands. I mean, all the advantages go to wide receivers in the NFL these days.
Yeah, and it's just that might have been one of the worst penalties. Like, there's been some horrendous penalties called this year, but that might take the cake up to this point. I mean, blindside block, like it was so bad that I don't even think people really knew what the call was.
Yeah, because you don't hear that call get thrown a lot in the league either.
And so that changed the momentum of everything. I mean, the score of this game looks a lot worse than what it actually was. I mean, I had to put the loss on this on Sean Payton. That's if I had to blame somebody, I had to put it on Sean Payton, just because. I mean, you said it in the intro. Like, that's the thing, is like, you might not be putting up the big yards, but you got to continuously try to run the ball. And if the way you're running the ball is not working, find another way to run it. And they did that too late when they started running Taysom Hill. They couldn't stop Taysom Hill running the ball.
They ran it about
ran
a little bit over 25
them.
times. He did. It reminds you of the Eagles game against the Giants, where it's like, bro, just run Jalen Hurts. You're going to beat us convincingly. What are you doing?
I was so frustrated at this game because not
you
just
needed the Cowboys to lose.
I wanted the Cowboys to lose. I picked the Cowboys to lose, and it was like, if the Cowboys had played like how the Cowboys played in some of those games earlier in the year, then you can't deny that team, when they play like that, they're one of the best.
Yeah.
But the way that they've played over the last 4 weeks is not that way. I mean,
I like this one though. This was one of those tough, dig it out victories. You can't forget, man. Their head coach is not even there on the sidelines. Dan Quinn is never on the sidelines. He usually calls all the defensive calls from up in the booth.
Yeah, but he's a former head coach, so I mean, it's not like.
Do you remember his last couple of games with Atlanta?
Yeah, he was
bad. It was god awful. Not only was it awful on the offensive side of the ball, it was more awful on the defensive side of the ball because he was scared to send the blitz. Then as soon as he got fired, they brought in who was the ex-coach from the Miami Dolphins that took over as the interim that year?
Oh, Raheem
Morris.
Raheem Morris, yeah.
Raheem Morris, he's like, man, screw this, we blitzing. They started winning some games. So I don't have no faith in Dan Quinn as a head coach. And you got to understand that the Cowboys are just going through a lot of turmoil. Dan Quinn wasn't the only coach that wasn't on on the sidelines for this, or was on the sidelines for this game. There were other coaches that were actually affected by the COVID situation as well, and a few players. I think that these are the kind of gritty games that you'll look back at the end of the year, and if the Cowboys are striding, you'll go, man, we played a tough game and got out of that. I know you wanted the Cowboys to lose because that would have been the perfect alley-oop for the Washington football team for sure. But, I mean, the Tony Pollard touchdown, when you need an answer, he gave it to you.
That was a play right there. And, I mean, listen, we've talked about Tony Pollard time and time again. He is a legitimate stud in the National Football League.
Yeah.
Like, he is like – he is almost at that. He's not Alvin Kamara, but he's in that that pool.
I put him a tier underneath Alvin Kamara, but I will say this: as a second back, there's not a better one in the NFL than him outside of maybe Kareem Hunt. Maybe I'll give you homie over the Detroit Lions too. Jamal Williams. Maybe. But you got to think
McKissick
like
is not quite the same runner as
different
Pollard
style,
is.
right?
Different style.
You know what's crazy is McKissick.
Javonte Williams.
Javonte Williams, maybe. I think that they kind of share that 1A, 1B over there with the Denver Broncos. But I got Pollard up there. And he does it with minimal touches. When you look at the situation with the Denver Broncos, they're pretty much like evenly splitting the carries over there. Pollard, 7 carries in this game. This dude went off.
He should be getting the most carries. Let me get to the hub. Says, say 99, bruh. Also, shout out to the audio god.
Hey, appreciate that, Hub. I helped Hub with his new setup, man. He got the new mic over there, the new interface, man. Things are looking fire over there on the Hub's channel. Make sure y'all subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, I know a lot of y'all are familiar with Giants Nation already, so you probably already subscribed. But if you're not, definitely go check out the Hub and his young gun co-host, Kid Blue, over there one time.
Big shout out to Tuto for the $4.99 super chat. Says, salute to you, authentic New York Giants of legends of all time. Drop by your office to pay our proper respects and slap all slimy, stinky Eagles fans. Who the hers out of here.
Out of here.
Shout out Tuto.
Shout out Tuto, man. Y'all know what it is, man. One of the most major support systems in this Giants community one time.
A.J. Dillon is getting there. I've been a big A.J. Dillon guy, and he's finally starting to get more and more touches. He's going to be a starting running back soon enough. I
froze up and was thinking about Corey Dillon. I was looking at some content from Boomer Esiason today, and he was saying Saquon Barkley needs to run a little bit more like Corey Dillon. But yeah, A.J. Dillon definitely up there. One of the last of a dying breed of that style of running back to power kind of running back. I definitely like A.J. Dillon.
It's tough for me because I was, I saw Monique say I sound like a hater, but that I'm not a hater.
I feel it. I see where you're going
because
with that, Monique.
I have sang the praises of the Dallas Cowboys multiple times this
Only
year.
because you have to at the beginning of the season. I mean, they were on a 6-game winning streak, lost their first game close to the Buccaneers opening day. There's no way you could throw any shade towards them.
No.
Now if you finding little angles, you finding the little back road to be like, hey, man, I don't know, man. This team might not be ready for the playoffs.
Hey, shout out B.B. Jones because Dora the Explorer is putting together a classic.
Next week is going to be amazing. I cannot wait for Sunday. It's going to be a fantastic one. But anything else before we wrap up this Cowboys at Saints?
No, I just listen. The Cowboys are going to have to find a way to get back to how they were playing earlier on in the season, or else they're on their way to a epic collapse.
I don't like that as a closer. I don't like that as a closer. You got to find a way to win ugly games at this time in the season.
Listen.
And look, when we get to Washington, I hope you feel the same way about them because they want an ugly game too. That they left that game out there could have been an L for them as well too.
Oh, you already know it. You know that I have a whole slew of negative things to say about that game.
And for the record, we did not coordinate the tie-dye vibes today. We were talking about this off air. Just happened. It just happened. We just, might be a jersey, might be all black, might be white one day. Who knows? Me and the beard are just we got that ESP, that simpatico kind of vibe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and listen, the Cowboys, I'm just going to say it one more time. 2 of 13 on third down. You're going to have to clean that up.
Yeah.
Clean it up.
Anything else? That's it?
You want to win
just
football
the third
games,
down clean up? Zeke Elliott going to have to play a little bit better? Dak Prescott
listen.
Can't turn the ball over?
Nah. I mean, listen, you're going to throw an interception here or there. You know what I'm saying? Listen. Ain't no more lollygagging. Ain't no more lollipops. Ain't no more easy peasies. Thanksgiving has passed. What is that?
It's something in rainbows.
Rainbows and lollipops.
It wasn't lollipops, but yeah.
Rainbows and unicorns?
No more unicorns and rainbows? Maybe it was that.
Rainbows and sunshine.
I like that better, actually. No more rainbows and sunshine. But, this is a team that did beat you guys earlier in the season, 33-22.
No.
Was Jameis Winston?
Not us. Oh, you're talking about the Saints? Yeah.
Look at you. When he got that hand up right here like this, and he in his bag, and he be like, "Listen, man, listen, all right, just listen." Nah, shout out to Cowboys, man, for pulling together a gritty victory here, man. We will see, man. One of us is going to be right, one of us is going to be wrong here for the Cowboys moving forward. We shall see, man. I think that's a good gritty win. The Beard thinks the Cowboys got to clean some things up, man. That 2 of what was it? 2 of 15,
2 of 13 on third
2 of
downs.
13 on third down. This was a ugly game on third down for both teams. The Saints were 5 of 14 in this one. So,
5 of 14 for them. Yeah, it's just listen. You want to listen.
There's that listen. There it is, right there.
You want to win playoff games?
Yeah, you might win them like this. Tom Brady won a playoff game with 2 interceptions last year, and they went on to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but look, this Cowboys play like this against Green Bay.
I'm trying to debunk everything you say.
Cowboys play like this against Green Bay, they lose. They play like this against Arizona, they definitely lose.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay,
Cowboys probably
Rams,
not going to play either one of those teams in the first round.
Who they going to play?
I mean, they're going to win
San
the division.
Francisco
They're probably going to play
49ers?
Washington. They're probably going to play the 49ers maybe. Seattle just beat the 49ers are kind of, yeah. And who else could sneak into that? Who's in the playoffs right now? Who's the third one? 49ers? Oh, the Rams. It could be the Rams. Can't play like that against the Rams.
Nope.
They'll make you pay. For sure, man.
Good game, though, Dallas.
Monique, great win for your Dallas Cowboys. That's how you got to get them sometimes. Oh, and Deezy. Shout out my homie Big Deezy one time in the building. Corrected me on that. He actually had 3 interceptions in that game. Still won. Beard's like, you mother.
Yeah, not everybody could do that. Tom Brady can do that. Not everybody can do that.
That's true. That's true, man. That's true. All right, let's get to these Philadelphia Eagles, man. Another team on the road this week. And the Philadelphia Eagles took on the Saints. Let's just get right to it. I mean, everybody know what we want to talk about in this one, right? Gardner Minshew III. Lights out against them Jets. He finished the day 20 of 25 for 242 yards and 2 touchdowns to Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert. While starting in place for Jalen Hurts, who was dealing with an ankle injury. The Eagles controlled the clock all day and went on to win the game 33-18 with Gardner Minshew 33-18 over the now 3-9 New York Jets, man. But the win might have come at the cost of Miles Sanders. He left the game in the fourth quarter with an ankle injury after running for 120 yards on 24 carries. The Beard, I got a couple little questions for you. I kind of know where your answer will go with this, but I heard a lot of people talking about this today. Do you think that the Eagles might have a quarterback controversy on hand? And do you think that maybe Gardner Minshew could be a guy that Sean Payton and the New Orleans Saints might be eyeing maybe if Sean Payton will come back to the Saints next year? I heard Ash Money talking about there's some rumors possibly Sean Payton might be out as New Orleans Saints coach, but I just want to know your thoughts in general on Gardner Minshew as a starting quarterback in the NFL. As we've said since last season, me and you both said that he should be a starter in this league, but what's your thoughts on his play in this game, and do you think they might have a quarterback controversy in Philadelphia?
No, listen, there's always a quarterback controversy in Philadelphia. It's Philadelphia. They are never happy. So, I mean, in my eyes, no, there's no quarterback controversy. But the media, the fans, they're going to stir that pot with a big old wooden spoon in the middle of the woods over a fire.
Oh, that was a bar right there. I hear you, dog. I hear you. That was a bar.
That's just how it's going to be for Philadelphia. Listen, Gardner Minshew is a starting quarterback in the National Football League. We have had this argument so many times, and everybody's like, whoa, well, this and all that. And then you pull up the stats, and you're like, holy smokes, the guy, listen, in today's NFL, you don't turn the ball over, you could be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
I got to go look at some receipts because there was a lot of content creators I was talking with about Gardner Minshew and them being like, he's a backup at best, and all of that type of talk.
But we were sitting on the couch, season 1 of Awthentik and the Beard. Yeah, and I was talking about Gardner Minshew 3 years ago. I'm like, this is people. There's some people who didn't even know how to say his name.
Yeah, I still don't know how to say his name. I be saying Minshew. Sometimes I say Minshew. Do I enunciate that other I? The third. So
listen, Gardner,
the third.
Yeah, the third. I like how you do that because not a lot of people do that.
Yeah,
well deserved for the third. But listen, he's a starting quarterback in the National Football League. Jalen Hurts is a starting quarterback in the National Football League. They're super fortunate to have 2 starting quarterbacks on their team right now. In the offseason, though, If the deal comes where, like where you can get something for Gardner Minshew, you absolutely take it. Now, if they got rid of Jalen Hurts for Gardner Minshew, I wouldn't call it the craziest thing in the world. But and it's weird for me because I'm a big Jalen Hurts guy. I'm a big Gardner Minshew guy. But I think you ride with Jalen Hurts, and Gardner Minshew deserves a shot to be a starting quarterback in the National Football League. Like I mean, I can tell you right now, like there's probably 4 or 5 teams that he could start for right now. And
New York Giants being one of them.
Absolutely.
For sure.
I mean, he would Saints, Jets,
possibly the Panthers,
Texans.
Yes.
Lions.
Tyrod Taylor cannot stay healthy. Ooh, I don't know. I don't want to take away from my man Jared Goff after that Sunday.
Chicago. I mean, listen.
Chicago. I like that.
There's a whole slew of them. But let's get to these super chats really fast. Big shout out to Tuto for the $4.99 super chat. Says New York Giants problems start from the top. Moron. Mara hired moron. Fat Getty. 4 years ago, who puts this $200 million garbage team together.
Talking them facts, Tudo.
Blow it up. Blow it all the way up.
That was the title. Gotta blow it up.
In the back of my mind, all I can hear is that was Rush Hour 1. It's like sometimes you gotta let the general public know that you can still blow up. Remember that line?
Yeah, I do remember that line. My favorite line from that movie is, "Don't you ever touch a black man's radio."
Yeah, my fiance looks at me crazy when I say that. Nick the Wick for the $1.99 super chat says he won in fantasy. I know that was a must win for you. And says also birthday shout out to Pizzle.
Big birthday shout out to Pizzle. Hey, Nick, NTW, I seen you on my Twitter doing them drills, bro. You had that bar over your shoulder, bro. You looking like you could play for the New York Giants right now, man. Best of luck to you with everything you're doing with football right now. I saw some of the notes they were saying about you. You know, a easy to coach kind of player, dedicated. Keep up that good attitude, man. You know, stare them coaches right in their eyes. Let them know you the one to get put in the game, dog. I'm telling you, you're going to be one of them guys we're going to look at in a couple of years here. Like, hey, Nick the Wick in blue, man. He gave me that that little hint on Daniel Jones with the concussion, and now he's playing for the New York Giants, man. So salute to you, man. And I know you were named one of the top players in your division as far as offensive line goes, man. So, yo, just keep raising that bar. Keep living them dreams, Nick the Wick, bro. We proud of you over here.
Faux show. Keep up the good work, brother. I mean, you just got back from Aruba, man. You're living the dream right now.
You out here getting it.
Keep up the hard work, brother. So, look, I do also want to say, I told y'all, Miles Sanders is going to have the best game of the season.
You did call that. You did call that.
I said he was going to get close to 200 all-purpose yards. He ended up with 142 total yards in
That's
this
what I'm
game.
talking about. Roadmaps.
Unfortunately, he did, hurt himself. But I mean, that was a game plan. Like, you want to talk about the way that Sean Payton called a game, and then talk about the way Nick Sirianni. Listen, sometimes I don't know what's going on. I wish I did, because there's Nick Sirianni will call a game, and you'll be like,
"What are you doing?
What? Give me the authentic.
What in the hell?"
There it is. And then sometimes you're like, "This is genius." You know, like, and it was a great game plan.
More, it's genius as of late. He's got 1 or 2 head scratchers probably in the last 5 or 6 weeks.
The game against the Giants, where it's like, what happened? You know what I'm saying? And listen, Gardner Minshew, just the way he commanded the offense. Like, we talk about it, and people think that it's like just like a thing that to say, like the moxie or the swag, right? It's a real thing. I hate to break it to you guys. It's a real thing. You got to have some sort of moxie. You've got to have that, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I walk out the car, whether it's 99 degrees or 10 degrees, I always walk out the car like I got on a fur jacket.
Yo,
you know what I'm saying?
You had the Rocky IV fur. You remember the Rocky IV?
I still have that jacket.
Man, that jacket was fire.
I still have that jacket. Hey, big shout out to BB Jones. Don't worry, buddy. Dora the
I
Explorer
want to
is hard
see
at
how
work
he's
right
going
now.
to map this today for his Washington football team. Yeah, but you owe him one, BB Jones. He road mapped you to your L last time. Don't forget.
The map is coming out Thursday night, 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here at Awthentik and the Beard. But yeah, Gardner Minshew, man. I mean, listen.
Two comments in the chat I want to bring to your attention about Gardner Minshew here. I know you already know what one of them is. Let's start off with the homie Ben Ball you real quick one time.
You bring it up. Absolutely not. No, not even close.
Get out of here, man. All right.
Fail.
And what you think about this one?
It's the O-line. Always has been. Every team in the NFC East has a good O-line except us. Eagles got hood O-line. That's why he was ball. I know. It's weird because I think if you look at it from top to bottom, the Giants definitely have the worst offensive line in the NFC East. I think that's easy to say.
And terribly coached. I was looking at some 22-man cam just today and a little bit yesterday. They're coached awful. They don't know how to pick up blitzes. They don't even know who they're blocking. They can't pick up stunts. They're coached awful. A lot of the time, it's not like outside of Nate Solder. It's not a physical domination by the defensive line. It's just they just don't know what they're doing.
And I mean, Washington, I don't know how they're doing it. They're down to like their fourth string center, but the offensive line seems to be playing better as the season goes along. The Eagles' offensive line is pretty bad. I will always revert back to the video of the left tackle who barely didn't even get out of his stance.
Yeah, not even barely. He didn't get out of the stance, and Jalen Hurts got out of that. And Gardner Minshew's a little bit shifty and crafty in the pocket.
We talked about that before too, and I remember looking at Heineke in the beginning time of Heineke, thinking, he reminded me somewhat of Gardner Minshew.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Heineke is actually probably a little bit more elusive than Minshew is in the pocket.
Dare I say that Daniel Jones makes the offensive line worse?
So I was looking at when I was watching the Giants and Mike Glennon. I don't think so. It's weird.
I do.
Maybe on some plays.
Mike because
Mike Glennon was back there looking like the Statue of Liberty. He should have just held the football
pump the brakes
like
though.
This.
Mike Glennon is not a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL, and he was only sacked 3 times in that game.
Yeah,
he's not a starter. So to be like Mike Glennon, to compare to Mike Glennon, but
what do we have to compare it to? There's no other quarterback back there.
Colt McCoy last year.
Colt McCoy is. That's
Daniel
tough.
The reason why I brought that up is because Daniel Jones doesn't see the pressure coming to him.
And that's the thing too, is I think there's so much that goes into that. It's not even just seeing; it's also feeling. If you can't see it, you got to be able to feel it. And if you don't see it, some people think that you're just automatically supposed to see the pressure directly. What you're supposed to be able to see is the effects of the pressure. So you should be able to see your offensive lineman.
As a quarterback, you should be able to scan 3/4 of the offensive line and be able to see that. That's why the left tackle position is so important. The left tackle position is so important because that's your blind side. It's where you can't see. It's almost like driving a car, and that's your rearview mirror on the left side. It's the most important one. Anybody who know how to really whip, you really don't even got to check that right mirror that much. It's that left mirror. That's normally your blind side because you got the side of the car right here where you really can't see. You could see what's happening kind of on your blind side, on your right side when you're driving the vehicle. And the reason why I say Daniel Jones makes the offensive line a little bit worse is I'm not trying to take away that the offensive line is just like straight garbage. Don't get it twisted. But you remember the comparison I made with Daniel Jones and Eli Manning in 2019 when they removed Eli Manning out of the lineup? And I said, look, Nate Solder wasn't struggling like that with Eli Manning at quarterback, and simply because Eli Manning has a tighter drop back, and Eli Manning can sense the pressure a little bit better. Even when Eli Manning had that noodle arm for his last season in the league, to me, he was still a better quarterback than what Daniel Jones is with all those semi-athletic skill sets that he has. But with all that said, the kid can't see the pressure coming towards him. And that, I don't want to say like Mike Glennon should be an upgrade. Mike Glennon couldn't see it that great either. But one thing about Mike Glennon, and we'll get to that in that game, but in that first half, I thought he was getting the ball out hot. The second half is where you saw Mike Glennon starting to look a little bit like a statue. And I think he took 2 sacks in a row on one of those drives. But I don't know. I just think like, with the Eagles offensive line, they're not like some like world-class offensive line where you could just stand back there and do what you do, but they do have very viable running backs over there, which does take some pressure off the quarterback because now when you do play action, you don't got a defense pinning their ears back just trying to go right after the quarterback. They got to respect what happens in the running game.
I think the most important word that you used is decisiveness or indecisiveness. Gardner Minshew was getting rid of that ball so fast.
Yeah.
You know, like he knew, I don't know how much of that is pre-snap, you know, just being like, okay, this is where I'm going to go because of what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah.
You know, and it just working. But I mean, the dude was dealing darts and it was, everything just worked out perfectly.
Eagles scored on their first 7 drives, man.
Yeah.
Game's over in the first half. I think he only threw the ball 5 times in the second half.
I saw you talking about that, which was super interesting. They ran the ball 41 times. You know I love a game.
Roadmaps.
What's my number one thing is you got to be able to run the ball 40 times a game.
Run the damn ball.
And you want to know what else you need from your quarterback? You need your quarterback to make big throws when necessary. Yeah. Gardner Minshew, so the Philadelphia Eagles had 26 first downs. Gardner Minshew was responsible for throwing 13 of those 26 first downs. You know, like it's just, and the red zone though, Philadelphia is that the fact that this game was the score was as bad as it was because listen, I haven't watched a lot of full game Zach Wilson. He looked pretty good in that first half.
Yeah, solid first half out of him.
And they got a guy. We talked about it, and I told you guys this was the play: Minshew, Goddard, Elijah Moore, Miles Sanders. Elijah Moore is a stud.
Yeah, he had a good game. 77 yards on 6 receptions on the day. And Crowder added 62 yards on 4 receptions. A lot of first half damage.
They don't have they're missing Michael Carter. They could not run the ball at all. It was bad. They couldn't run the ball.
Tevin Coleman, you know that he's not the guy over there.
They only ran the ball 17 times.
Yeah.
17 times.
11 to was it 11 to Tevin? Yeah, Tevin he had 11 for 58, which is not too bad.
Yeah, it's just you got to be able to run the ball more. I mean, big shout out to, speaking of the Jets, no Mets, no Nets, no Jets. For the $4.99 super chat, says this is for Jameson. Keep up the good work, fellas. Jameson said, I don't have the money to super chat. Can you do it for me? No Mets, no Nets, no Jets stepped up.
Is that what happened? Salute the no Mets, no Nets, no Jets, man. Did we get that $2 super chat as well?
Did I miss a $2?
This one right here. Did we get this?
Nope, we didn't. $2. Performance always comes with preparation. Winners train and grind to carry the entire team on the game day. They wake up every morning with a purpose. I feel like I need like NFL Films horns in my background when I'm
Tudo sent me a super chat on Monday. I was like, I don't even know how to read this because the beard, you know, he put on that Tudo voice for you. And the Tudo delivery. I like it, man. Shout out to Tudo one time in the building, man. We appreciate you pulling up, Tudo.
When I read those, like in my mind, I see like fog coming off of like the steamy mountains and the water flowing and early morning jogs. Not like cool runnings,
shot by NFL
jogs.
Films and whatnot.
Yes.
You
know what I'm saying? Look, you know, I think I could do NFL Films voiceover.
Yeah, I think you could. You might bust out laughing a couple times, but I think you could do it. Shout out to Cardinal Rule one time in the building too, man. Definitely recognizing your boy Gardner Minshew, man. He's definitely a starting quarterback somewhere in the NFL for sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's just like it's finding so much of being there's quarterbacks that you could put anywhere, right? And they'll be a quarterback. They'll be a starting quarterback. They'll succeed. Then there's guys that if you don't put them in the perfect situation, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's difficult. I mean, and listen, the Eagles needed to win this game. The Eagles should have won this game. The Eagles did win this game. But it was the way that game started. And listen, if the Jets had a kicker.
I know, right? They were in that game.
They were in it. They missed the first 2 extra points. They missed the field goal. Then they had to start going for 2 because they were just like, dude, what are we going to do with this guy?
And still only down by 6 at the half. They were right there.
Right there. And then what happened? Eagles turned it up.
Yeah.
Ran the ball more. owned the time of possession in the second half by, I think it was around a 5-minute differential, which doesn't sound like a lot,
10
but
10
in
minutes.
in a second half differential of time of possession is super important because
it was almost 11 minutes. Philadelphia was 35 minutes, 36 seconds to the Jets, 24 minutes, 24 seconds.
Yeah. It's just, look, I think the Jets, they got a couple of draft picks coming up. And I think Zach Wilson showed me a little something in this game. Like he looks like he can be a quarterback. It
reminds me of Drew Lock, man.
So I can see that. See that. But
it's
you
like
also are talking to a Drew Lock defender.
I like Drew Lock. I think that, he could develop and be a guy. I think they did the right thing by pulling the plug on him and bringing in a good stopgap, a veteran-style quarterback over there. I think that was smart to do for them. But it's going to be hard with the Jets because they're just so awful. New York football is so bad right now, and rebuilding these teams is going to be very difficult. The one thing I liked about Gardner Minshew in this game was he didn't try to target the wide receivers. It's a quiet game from Devonta Smith, a quiet game from Quez Watkins. He only had 3 catches. Devonta had 2. He went to his tight end, Dallas Goedert, for 6 receptions, 105 yards, and he targeted the running backs. Miles Sanders and Gainwell combined for 8 receptions for 55 yards. That's how you do it.
How many times have we said this? What is a backup quarterback's 2 best friends?
Tight end, running back. 3rd offensive line. He's getting it done, man. And shout out to his pops, man. I love the moment after the game.
Oh, man.
The dapping up. I loved it, man. Seeing a kid hype like that. He didn't even know he was going to be the starter until day of when they, announced that Jalen Hurts wasn't even going to be dressing. And he was like, all right, well, okay, guess I got to get ready to be the starter today. And went out there and did it.
He's a football player.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy to me how that all went down in Jacksonville. Because they were 100% didn't want to play him because they knew that this is what he does. Like he will. And
you
I
could
saw
put
people
straight up
being
scraps around him, and he gonna try to find a way to win the game. He ain't out
he
there
loves
playing timid
football.
or playing scared. He's out there trying more than loving playing football. You could tell he one of those guys that he wants to win, bro. I'm like that in every sport. Man, we could be playing Flip Cup, and if I lose in Flip Cup, I'm looking at people crazy. Like, man, get it together, bro.
We gotta rotate. We gotta rotate the order. Something you're over here now. I mean, yeah,
dude got that winner. He got that winner gene where he just wants to win, bro. And you can see that. And a lot of these quarterbacks, they get out there and they play scared. I mean, me being a New York Giants fan, I see it on Daniel Jones. He's not wearing it like, yo, let's go get this. Gardner Minshew's out there like, man, let me twirl this mustache like the beard. I'm about to go out here and give me a W. And he saw his pops. They ain't even had to say no words. They just looked at each other and they gave him daps from Pops. What I did, Pops. He was almost beating his dad up with the daps. Like, take them daps, Dad.
It was
loved it. Great moment.
He was putting that shoulder into
the shoulder. I loved it, man. I love seeing those kind of moments.
It's crazy because how many times did we mention this in the first 2 or 3 episodes this year? Man, somebody need to go out there and get Gardner Minshew.
I know. I thought it was going to be the Colts, maybe. Thought it was going to be the Colts, bro. They didn't make that move, but they seem to have made the right move. They got the pairing of Frank Reich and Carson Wentz. And Carson Wentz is playing some really good football right now. I definitely got to commend him. He's doing a fantastic job not turning the ball over. You remember Carson Wentz was the guy who was like the leader in turnovers and sacks last season, right up there with our boy. And he's cleaned that up. And
you see what I'm talking about? Sometimes it's just not working in one place. And you got to have, you know what I'm saying, that certain sort of surrounding.
You know what I'll say to that too is you want to see it with players that have proven they can do it. Gardner Minshew, he showed you in Jacksonville that rookie season. People slept on him. I think the numbers were kind of modest. It was like a 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. But he showed you he could win games. The Jacksonville Jaguars in his rookie season, I can't remember the record, but they were winning more games than everybody thought they would. James Robinson got put on notice. You know what I mean? He was showing you that this team could do things with guys like Dede Westbrook and DJ Chark was over there. They had one other wide receiver, number 84. I can't remember his name. Maybe that was Chark. But he's doing things with scraps over there. Showed you can win. Carson Wentz comes in this league as a rookie, first 2 seasons, showed you he's a baller, pretty much took his team to the Super Bowl outside of the playoffs. Then you see Nick Foles come in, they get the Super Bowl in 2017, I believe that was. They've proven that they can do it. And my whole thing is like, when you show me you put the proof in the pudding, I'm not going to doubt you from that point on. You showed me you a baller, I'm not going to doubt you. I'm not going to be out here just because the Jacksonville Jaguars wanted to bench Minshew and wouldn't give him playing time, trying to make it look like he was a worse quarterback than he really was. I'm not going to fall for that trick bag. I'll be using my eyes. Gardner Minshew, he can play football.
And, this was what a lot of the conversation was going to be, and that's just how it is going to be in Philly, and the Eagles get a bye week this week. So, it's going to give an extra week. I think a lot of that went into the mindset of this. Okay, we're playing the Jets. We got Minshew. We got a bye next week. Let's just let Jalen, rest up for a couple of weeks. So Jalen Hurts will be back in there. But it is good to know that you have some insurance policy. This
the great part about it. What you think you could get for Gardner Minshew after a game like that if you trade him? They traded him. I think they traded him for a 6th-round pick to get him from Jacksonville.
I'd say somewhere between, depending on how desperate a team was, somewhere between a 4th and a 6th, yeah.
I'm right there with you. I think his value went up after playing like that. I'd say a 4th-round pick you could get him for. So going into the 2022 season, who knows? Maybe the Eagles could deal a guy like Gardner Minshew for another draft pick, and they already got 2 first-round, or is it 3 first-round draft picks?
They have 2.
2 first round.
No, wait. The Eagles have 3, and one of these 2 teams has 3.
Yeah, it's one of them that's got 3. I can't remember.
Yeah,
because we were talking about that.
Giants have
episode.
2.
Yeah.
Giants have 2. Jets have 2. I think it is the Eagles.
I think it is the Eagles. I do think it is the Eagles. So I mean, yeah, you could even add to more draft capital there. I think Jalen Hurts is the guy moving forward. Sirianni has figured out a way to win with him, and you just can't get away from the run.
Big shout out to Tuto for the $9.99. Look, he did this for the Heineke. For the $9.99, $9.99 super chat. This super chat is on behalf of all Giants Nation. Fans for Awthentik, the legend.
Tuto in the building.
Since Skins fans can't afford any. Shout out to Tuto.
Yeah, no Skins fans donating to Awthentik in the Beard. I appreciate you, Tuto.
Thanks, Washington football team fans. Appreciate it, guys.
That was really it says it's for me, but it's really for you.
It's not for me. It's for you, Washington football team fans.
For you.
Get with the program.
All right, man. Well, I think we could put a wrap on that Eagles-Jets game. We spent the first hour of the show on these 2 games, and I'm kind of glad we did. Because it was 2 pivotal games in the NFC East on the road. Both these teams got the W. The Dallas Cowboys get an ugly win. The Eagles handle business the way we thought they would. And these are the 2 teams really emerging in that playoff race along with the Washington football team. So let's get to my New York Giants, and let's take a quick little commercial break. We'll come right back, get to the New York Giants, and then we'll talk about your Washington football team's victory.
Your wide receiver on IR? Oh, shucks. Your running back keep fumbling every week? Man, damn it all. Well, come chop it up with your boys. We are waiver wire tight. Awthentik in the Beard. Every Sunday morning, streaming live at 11 a.m.
Y'all know what it is, man. The parlay every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I was just talking to the Beard about this off air. Man, I was lights out on my picks this week. The only games I missed was the Ravens game, the Washington game, and, of course, my New York Giants, trying to pick with my pride. But y'all know how I did on Thursday before I told y'all the Dolphins was definitely going to take care of them New York Giants, and they sure did. The Miami Dolphins took the New York Giants into deep waters on Sunday, improving their record to 6-7 after Miami started the 2021 season at 1-7. New York Giants backup quarterback Mike Glennon, free Mike Glennon, took the field on Sunday doing his best impersonation of Daniel Jones and finished the day with 0 touchdowns and 1 interception. Evan Ingram was the one bright spot in the passing game, reeling in 4 receptions for 61 yards. And 61 yards is a bright spot. That's just straight up garbage. The Giants are now 4-8 and are watching their playoff hopes slip away in real time. Mike Glennon finished the game but was later diagnosed with a delayed concussion. Me and Ash Money was making fun of that on Twitter earlier on Monday, and it seems that the 5th-round draft pick out of Georgia, Jake Fromm, is going to get the start at quarterback this week against the Chargers. Not many coaches from the Bill Belichick coaching tree have had success, but Miami Dolphins head coach Brian Flores left his footprints on Joe Judge and the New York Giants' backs as the Giants couldn't do jack offensively and only reached the red zone one time all game. So, if you missed the Giant overreaction on Monday, we definitely talked about a lot of the things we're going to talk about here on this episode of Awthentik and the Beard, the best division in football, the best TV show not on TV. You know what it is. Now, Mike Glennon, he finished the day. Oh, you want a little quick left side?
Strong side.
I like it. Mike Glennon finished the day 23 of 44 for 187 yards, 1 interception. Now, the Free Mike Glennon campaign on Twitter, there was a reason why there was a laughing emoji at the end of the hashtag every time I posted it. You would think that people ain't stupid, but people are stupid. And some people thought that I was 100% serious about Mike Glennon. I had somebody hit me up and say, you still think Mike Glennon is better than Daniel Jones? Now, don't get it twisted. If you told me you thought Mike Glennon was better than Daniel Jones, I wouldn't even give you no beef on that. But I don't think Mike Glennon is better than Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones obviously gives us the best chance to win games. But what about that excuse that we've been giving Daniel Jones all year? What about this running game? Well, Saquon Barkley only had 55 yards on the ground. I know he had 5.5 yards per carry. The Giants targeted him a team high 9 times in the passing game, and he had some big drops in this game. It's really the first time I saw Saquon Barkley completely deflated in the press game or post-game conference. Booker didn't add much to this. He had 6 carries for 36 yards. So for those 2 running backs there, you're looking at about 91 yards on the day. And the crazy part about this is Freddie Kitchens, I'm kind of curious why he didn't rely on the running game even more. I know that Saquon Barkley opened up the big run for about, I think it was 23 or something yards like that. So, a lot of his yards come on that one play. But you got Devontae Booker averaging 6 yards per carry and Saquon Barkley averaging 5.5 yards per carry. To me, that just screams, why don't you run the ball? Kenny Galladay was targeted early a lot in this game, and I like what I saw from Mike Glennon, especially on the first successful drive that we had. He was going right at Galladay. I like the timing I saw from him, and it didn't look that much different from what you saw from Daniel Jones, from my eyes. A couple little things. You couldn't run the RPO, obviously, without Daniel Jones in the game, but y'all know if you've been watching Awthentik and the Beard all year long, I've been talking about I don't like seeing Daniel Jones in the RPO. I think it's just a surefire recipe to get him hurt, and that's what ends up happening to Daniel Jones last week. And this whole situation with what's going on with his neck, nobody really knows because the Giants aren't giving you real reports, but it looks like Daniel Jones might be out for the rest of the season. Now, Kenny Galladay only had 3 receptions on the day for 37 yards. Kyle Rudolph had 2 receptions for 18 yards. And Darius Slayton had 2 receptions for 13 yards. John Ross, he was on the field for a few snaps, 0. Didn't register a catch in this game. And Joe Judge, he said something in the press conference. He said, I saw a lot of players make a lot of big plays. And I thought to myself, what the hell are you talking about, Joe Judge? And I saw somebody call him Joke Judge on Twitter today, and I think that this might have been a joke. Because outside of Tay Crowder, who made one big play on the day where he stopped Myles Gaskins in the backfield on a fantastic blitz read that he just went right through, right up the middle and made a great tackle, I didn't see many big plays in this game. Azeez Ojulari had a sack. Quincy Roche had a sack. Aaron Robinson looked pretty decent in coverage on the day for a guy who looked like he was just thrown out there. Dexter Lawrence continues to disappoint. James Bradbury is starting to look like a backup cornerback out there. I don't know what's going on. There was 2 plays that were major confusion. One of them was on a touchdown in the corner, in the sideline on the corner of the end zone. I'm just like, what is going on here? He just looked lost in the zone. And we continue to get carved up by Tua in this game. Tua was 30 for 41 for 244 yards and 2 touchdowns. Dolphins took the lead in the first half on a drive where Tua was 11 of 12, 77 yards. He only had 1 throw that went over 11 yards. So for people that like to say Jason Garrett, his game plan is vanilla and you can't win like that, well, the Miami Dolphins showed you how to dink and dunk all day in this game, short passes all day long, to the point where Logan Ryan even made fun of it in his press conference, talking about he could go play quarterback and just throw short passes to his left, trying to kind of take a shot at Tua. But we're looking at a guy who went 30 or 41 for 244 yards, 2 touchdowns. Y'all didn't force a turnover on this guy or nothing. He straight up sliced the defense all day.
Let me ask you this really fast, though.
Yeah.
Do you think that was more of a shot at Tua or more of a shot at Patrick Graham?
Well, he literally said Tua. He talked about him throwing the ball to his left all day under 10 yards. I took it as a shot at Tua.
Okay.
Because if there's any bright spot in this game outside of Evan Ingram's couple of catches, the defense gave the offense a chance to win. There were 2 opportunities late in that game where Mike Glennon could have drove down with the offense, and all we had to do was score a touchdown, and we're right there in the game.
It's hard. It's almost impossible. Your defense plays to us. I mean, it's been like this for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
But you have to score points.
You got to score points, and I'm going to get down to some of those points because the Giants scoring points has been a problem all year, and people were blaming that on Jason Garrett too, and we're starting to see that, yeah, Freddie Kitchens was dealing with a backup quarterback in this situation, but, like, we're not scoring touchdowns. It's pretty pitiful. And Jalen Waddle, he was doing the Waddle with the reporter after the game when they were talking to him on the field. This dude broke the Dolphins single-season rookie record for receptions now. He's got 86 receptions on the year. He's pushing 1,000 yards. He's looking like a fantastic number 1 pick especially as a wide receiver pick that early in the draft. Him, Jamar Chase, even Devonta Smith are looking really good. Kadarius Toney can't stay on the field. And Devontae Parker came back in this game, and he did a little something too with 5 catches for 62 yards. You called that, the Beard. Like what I saw out of him. Mike Gesicki, he was doing his thing on the field. He had 7 receptions for 46 yards. I saw that Justin Pennick was pointing out highlights from Aaron Robinson's day against the Miami Dolphins, and he put the one highlight where Gesicki dropped the pass that hit him right in the face mask. And I'm like, we're looking at that as highlights for the New York Giants now when a guy jumps up and then the ball hits the receiver in the face mask. I thought it was hilarious. But the Giants, total yards on the day on offense, 250. You're not going to win games like that unless you got the Ray Lewis-led defense from the Baltimore Ravens. 6 of 15 on third down. 0 touchdowns on the day. 0 for 1 in the red zone. The Giants have scored 22 points in 2 games since firing Jason Garrett. We have 3 total touchdowns in the last 4 games. That screams Daniel Jones. That screams average at the quarterback position. I'm going to keep it real with you. And Glennon was below average, as we thought he would be in this game. If we were praying and hoping maybe he'd go out there and put up 35 points, and then we could really be like, y'all got to get rid of Daniel Jones this year. But Glennon looked like a Daniel Jones out there. It wasn't much different. 3 total touchdowns in the last 4 games. That's god-awful. Jonathan Taylor, running back of the Indianapolis Colts, has the equivalent amount of touchdowns on the year at 18 that the New York Giants have as a team right now. Okay? I want to say it was week 7 is the last time you saw a wide receiver or a running back score a touchdown for the New York Giants. On the year now, the New York Giants have been outscored. Our defense has been outscored before the half. It was 40-something last week. Now it's 52-0 in the last 2 minutes before the half. Dante Pettis and Devontae Booker scored touchdowns in the Giants' 25-3 victory over the Panthers on October 24th. Keep that date in mind. October 24th. That's the last time a wide receiver or a running back got in the end zone for the New York Giants. This game happened on December 6th. It is now December 7th. That game was December 5th. It's now December 7th. Chris Myerick, who I didn't see much in this game, Andrew Thomas, Xavier McKinney, Kyle Rudolph, and Evan Ingram are the only people to score touchdowns within those games since that Carolina Panthers game. It's been 5 games, okay? See, I'm trying to keep this rant kind of calm. Just trying to keep it kind of chill for y'all.
Listen, when you lay it out like this, right, it's like it really accentuates the seriousness.
How awful we are.
Right? How serious the league. I mean, it's bad.
It's really bad. And
the days that you just rang off who scored a touchdowns.
We haven't scored a touchdown from a wide receiver or running back since October 24th. That was before Halloween. That was when I was trying to get dressed up and put on Halloween costumes for the stream. We finally scored a touchdown from a wide receiver or running back. We haven't got one since then. Last thing I want to talk about, because if you want this is the cliff notes of the rant from Monday with a couple little nuggets involved, right? If you want the whole 2.5-hour rant, just go check out the Giant Overreaction from Monday. It was a solo show.
Description of this video.
Link shout out to the team one time. The team is us. But one last thing I wanted to point out here, okay? It's a money thing. And you know, I got a couple little sayings over here. if it was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. We're not going to be optimistic. We're not going to be pessimistic, but we're going to keep it authentic and be realistic. Facts over feelings. Hashtag facts over feelings. Free Odell Beckham. Free Mike Glennon. But we're going to count some pockets here. I don't like to count pockets. That's another one of my sayings. I don't like to count nobody pockets, but we're going to count some pockets here. Okay? I forget who the third player is. Leonard Williams and Kenny Golladay and one other player. I can't remember if it was James Bradbury or not, but they make up 33% of the cap space for the New York Giants. Okay? Leonard Williams is on a 3-year, $63 million deal. Kenny Galladay's on a 4-year, $74 million deal. Okay? We went out there. We spent all this money. We can talk about James Bradbury, Blake Martinez, Adoree Jackson. Who else? John Ross, Kyle Rudolph, Devontae Booker. All these players we spent money on. When Dave Gettleman was saying in his beginning of his tenure, we are going to try to win and rebuild. He was like, what, you can't win and rebuild? Remember that? Yeah, Dave Gettleman, you cannot win and rebuild. Now, this is the last thing I want to point out. All the Giants fans was ragging on Jerry Reese, okay? Talking about his draft picks, talking about his records, talking about his failures before Dave Gettleman got here. McAdoo being the coach, all of that, right? 2017, remember we got all injured, and then they fired McAdoo at 2-10 in his second year after he won 10 games as a rookie head coach. Pulled the plug on him real early. But the one thing that Jerry Reese did, remember he spent $200 million on the defense. Had Jack Rabbit out there, Olivier Vernon, he just spent a bag, right? But when he did that, entering the 2016 season, we actually won games. So to try to compare what Jerry Reese has done, and don't forget the 2 Super Bowls while he was here too, previous to that. But to try to compare him to what Dave Gettleman is doing, it's a spit in the face to the 2 Super Bowls that he got us. Because when he spent the money in 2016, the Giants won 10 games. Dave Gettleman comes in here and completely removes all those players that were part of that roster, from the JPPs to the Jack Rabbits and all those other players that we letting Snacks walk. And then you go out and you pay Leonard Williams $63 million when we let Snacks walk, and they picked him up for about $20 million on a 2-year deal or something like that.
Marcus
Golden's another one. There's just so much wrong with this New York Giants organization right now. And about 2-3 weeks ago, I was ready to give up. I was ready to literally throw in the towel, like my man from Rocky IV. Throw in the towel, bro, is what it's looking like. And now I got my little fly still running around here too. I ain't seen him all day.
No, I was throwing the towel. I was throwing the towel.
I still got that fly in here, bro. I was like, it's like he woke up and became alive, like right when we go on the air. I don't get it. But to me, that's the one thing we got to look at with the Jerry Reese regime. It's like they spent the money and it actually kind of worked. We won 10 games. And can we stop blaming the boat trip on the loss in the playoffs? They just played a bad game. That happens. It was Odell Beckham's first playoff game. Maybe he was scared. Maybe there was jitters. But players don't play bad football from going out and hanging out on a boat. I'm sorry.
Trust me, they do it every game.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know it,
hanging out, doing what
they're at the club.
Didn't the Dallas Cowboys just throw somebody like Dak Prescott and somebody else under the bus saying like, oh, man, I was out partying with them on Wednesday and, blah, 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 blah. It just happened last week.
I will tell you that Toothpick said that he saw Amari Cooper in Vegas when they were out there for the game.
Still out there. That was last week's game. What are you doing out there?
I don't know.
Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. But the Giants got to find a way to get this together. It's not going to happen this year. And if you saw the Giant overreaction, I talked about it, man. Just, get rid of it all. Just get rid of it all. You got to find a new quarterback. You got to find a new coach. And you got to find a new GM. Because Mara's not selling the team. So, no. Nick DeWick, listen, you know what it is, bro.
You're talking to somebody who knows what you're going through. Okay?
Big facts.
And big shout out to Nick DeWick for the $1.99 super chat who says, blow it all up. Yeah, listen, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I thought Joe Judge was going to get fired on Monday.
I thought that,
too. I mean, it's been bad. Really, really bad. I don't even know what else to say. Like, You got all of my badness out on that intro. I mean, there was a lot of it.
I was very long-winded, I know.
We're gonna run through
cram
some of
this
these
into about 12 minutes.
We're gonna run through some of these chats really quick, and I'm gonna bring up a few points about
Let's do it.
About this game because there was definitely some craziness in this game that really
Facts.
blew my mind, and I was kind of shocked, to be honest with you. And obviously, everybody is big shout out to Michael Strahan. I don't know how he pulled that one off, but he's going to space.
Yeah, that's gangster.
Who's he flying up there with? Who did he get a ride with? Bezos?
I thought it was the other
Tesla?
homie. Tesla.
Why is his name slipping my mind right now?
I got his face right there thinking
Oh,
about
yeah.
him smoking
Elon
a blunt
Musk.
on Joe Rogan.
Elon Musk. is his
Elon
name.
Musk.
There you go. Yes, shout out to the graphic crew too.
Appreciate that, Issa.
And big shout out to
Doe.
Put a $4.99 super chat says, remember, New York Giants still executing Moron Garrett's garbage playbook.
That's true.
Moron Mora's responsible for bringing him as a favoritism.
That's definitely true. We still using the Garrett playbook, but I'm sorry,
I mean,
man.
listen.
I'm sorry. I can't blame this on Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett has now gone down my list farther of the biggest problems with the New York Giants.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is the other thing, too, is that, like, okay, Jason Garrett's gone. Jason Garrett's name should not be spoken by Giants fans anymore. There's no point. Okay?
Yeah,
he's gone.
I mean, it's a wrap.
He's not here, okay? So let's give up that whole thing. And, yeah, obviously, Gettleman's gone. There's no question about it. Gettleman is going to be
and Schefter reported that. Schefter was on WFAN in the morning with I want to say it was with Maggie and Moose before they canceled that show, and I'm so upset that they canceled that show. I love Maggie, man. She was one of the most fire people on WFAN. But not Schefter. Who's the other one? Rappaport. Rappaport was on there. My bad, not Schefter. But Rappaport was on there, and he pretty much said, look, just take my word for it. It's a done deal. Gettleman's gone.
Yeah, I mean, he's gone. And I think that, as soon as Gettleman goes, Judge will probably be let go. I'd imagine Patrick Graham would be let go. And, these sort of things happen. Like, you put all your chips in fish and chickens and eggs and whatever else goes into a basket. You put all those things into a basket and you hope it works. You throw it against the wall and hope it sticks. And it just didn't stick. It just didn't stick. Everybody knew that the New York Giants were taking a risk to a certain extent when hiring Joe Judge. If you hit on that hiring, you look like a genius. If you don't, you
look like
it doesn't look good.
Same thing with the quarterback, bro. Drafting Daniel Jones at number 6 is the exact same scenario.
And we're going to talk about this coming up soon, but I'll give you guys a quick little teaser. Awthentik and I, we talked about this off air, and we're going to bring it to more to light for our viewers and hopefully new viewers about the misses at the quarterback position in the first round over the last couple of decades. Y'all better not be out there trying
to steal no ideas before we drop this video, too. If I see anything about first-round quarterbacks come out from any Giants content creators, you heard it here first. You biting.
But it's a risk. And listen, we're right there, bro. Dwayne Haskins, Daniel Jones. Remember, at the end of that, I'm like, man, it's going to be crazy. Dwayne Haskins versus Daniel Jones for the next decade. Giants in Washington. And it's like the complete opposite. It's the complete opposite. And it's just, I think that when you're in a rut like this, you're trying to find answers.
Redding one time in the building, just blow it all up and start from scratch.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. You have to. There's no other choice. And listen, don't be upset about it.
My playbook, seriously, still my damn fault. Yep, blame Jason Garrett. My man Tim from Online Big Blue. As soon as I heard him say this, I was like, I gotta run with that. That's a great saying. He said, Jason Garrett is going to be the sacrificial lamb for the New York Giants. But the crazy part is, it might not be enough. It
No,
might not be enough for them to
definitely
just
not
be able to.
enough.
You might have wanted to fire him later. That's the if they would have fired him like week 15, then you could have went to the offseason and just blamed everything on Jason Garrett, and Giants fans would have been like, sure, and going to next season with Joe Judge and maybe Dave Gettleman.
But see, I don't think that that's gonna happen.
Well,
No,
I mean, it didn't happen. That's the thing. They fired Jason Garrett
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. Now it's like we're starting to see that this ain't all Jason Garrett's fault. Even the Giants fans who are on that bandwagon of this is all Jason Garrett's fault. The playbook's awful. The offense is vanilla. He doesn't know how to target Kenny Galladay. Man, we saw Mike Glennon right off the bat go, I'm throwing it to my playmakers.
Listen, Kenny, and this might not be the best take, right? And it might not be popular, but the Kenny Galladay signing it's
Oh,
not
no,
it.
that's popular right now.
It just wasn't. It just didn't turn out to be a good signing. You know that
Something in my gut told me that Kenny Galladay was really a number 2. He's like a better, more physical Darius Slayton.
All right. You know what it kind of reminds me of? It reminds me of a Juju Smith-Schuster, Calvin Ridley, those sort of situations where
Right.
when you look like you could be a number 1, but you're just not a number 1.
Right.
You
Right.
know, like to be a number 1 wide receiver, you got to be built a certain way. You just have to. And I don't necessarily just mean physically. I mean physically, mentally. You know, like the crispness, the dedication, the route running, the hands, the attitude. Like so much goes into just being a number 1 wide receiver. You just don't get 100 catches and 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns and you're a number 1 wide receiver, right? Like,
Right.
I mean, that's not how it works. But the Kenny Galladay signing is starting to look like it was just not the right fit, the right idea. Just it's gonna hurt. They might think about cutting ties. We've seen it happen before.
I don't think they can cut ties. It would be too much.
How much of
a
it's
hit.
guaranteed?
I'm not sure. It was a 4-year, $74 million. A lot of it guaranteed.
I bet you it's probably like $30 million guaranteed, which they probably gave him like 10 in the signing bonus.
He's played in
probably
9 games.
They probably
He's
spread the
played,
20.
He's played in 8 games, actually, and he has 26 catches, 409 yards. He's averaging 15.7 yards per catch. His longest catch of the year is a 28-yarder, and he's got no touchdowns. See, the thing is like if he was healthy and you had you just up the productivity, he's lacking targets too. That's the problem. That's another one of the problems. He's lacking targets.
It's just a bad situation. And then, look, there's somebody that asked about Saquon. Like, you know, Giants fans look at Saquon. They need to start looking at him more objectively and this and that, right?
Yeah.
Saquon. The problem with Saquon Barkley is in the back of everybody's minds. This isn't just Giants fans. This is, you know, fans of football, fantasy football players, anybody who is deeply invested into the game of football. You see Saquon Barkley in the back of your mind like Saquon Barkley out the gate.
Yeah, rookie year.
And then I think that some people think that if he's not that same Saquon, then he's not good. And I think that's a big misconception. Now, in this game, it was crazy because you talked about that Saquon Barkley run, and then you followed it up with the stats for Booker for the game. That third quarter stretch right there, I was like, okay, here we go. They're running the football. Barkley, big run. Right after the Barkley big run. Booker, big run.
Yeah.
That drive right there, they're in the game. They're finally running the ball. Like, there's no rhythm to the Giants team, offensively, defensively, especially. Like, it all looks off. There's no cohesiveness. There's no rhythm. It's like you're just. It's almost like when you see basketball teams put together these sort of like super rosters, and it just doesn't work. Like, a lot of people think that, you know, the Miami Heat were the first people to kind of start doing that. I remember a Lakers team that had Karl Malone.
Oh, my God. Gary Payton, too.
Gary Payton.
Yup.
Who else was on that team? Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant were all on that team? Was that what that team was?
I can't remember if they were both on that team. I think so. And there's one other player we're missing.
Yeah, but
Was it
I
like
mean,
Robert Ory maybe? I can't remember who it was.
and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
So it's like there's you can go talk to the sun, to the moon, to the stars. There's not a quick fix on this. You're not
Yep.
just going to be the boat is sinking, and you're not going to just be able to slap some Flexol
Yep.
or whatever
And
that
then it's
stuff is on
who
the
do you
side
give
of it.
the life preserver and the
Who
rest?
stays?
Exactly.
Who stays?
That's gonna be the thing.
You're gonna have to look out. Big shout out to Independent Outsider for the $5 super chat. Says, Beard, you're right. Don't old.
Don't hold. I think is maybe what he was.
Don't
going
hold
with right there.
overpriced free agents. Galladay, Solder trade, etc. I got hurt Saturday on muscle relaxants now, and I'm more productive. Glad
That's
to hear.
what's up. Yeah, that is
Shout out
facts
to
though.
Independent Outsider. Yeah.
And they did that with a bunch of risks on this team. They went into this year with a bunch of question marks, with a bunch of players who hadn't proved in the recent history that they can still do it. You got all these players coming off injuries. They never thought about the real true backup plan if Saquon Barkley were to come on the field and have half a step less than he had his rookie season. The other thing, too, is I talked about this last week about Saquon Barkley. He has 11 100-yard rushing games in his career. 10 of them were with Eli Manning. These other jokers, bro, they don't know what they doing pre-snap. And I went and I skimmed over the first half of the 22-man tape from this game with the Giants and the Dolphins, right? When we run the ball, our offensive linemen don't even ever get to the second layer. You would literally see plays where the 4 front defenders of the Dolphins defense can handle everybody up front for the New York Giants, and they'll have 3 or 4 linebackers sometimes just waiting on the play. You look at the play where they did that little reverse to Saquon Barkley, man, the play is dead before Saquon even has the ball because people up front are getting manhandled.
So like I'd say that's a amazing point, actually. How much of that do you weigh on scheme versus talent?
I think 80% of it is on the coaches because, on that one play, you do see Evan Ingram just get blown up, right? There was a play where Saquon Barkley was in pass protection as well, where I don't know if you remember this throw. It was outside to the left side of Mike Glennon, and he almost threw an interception because the pressure got to him quick. It was to Farrell Cooper. And it was like the timing wasn't right, and he kind of tried to lob it in and make it land on like a little bit of a short kind of comeback route.
Xavier Howard, I think, was on the defensive side of that one.
Yeah, I believe so. And you just see Saquon Barkley and Evan Ingram just like in pass protection getting blown up. So I do think there's a small portion of it that's like you don't got the personnel. And I was watching some of the there was a interview with all the coaches from the New York Giants staff. It was like a 2-hour piece of content that the Giants released on their YouTube, and they had like. We got all these coaches. They were interviewing coaches I had never even heard of. And one of the people who was being interviewed was talking about Evan Ingram, and he was like, look, we know that blocking is not his best skill set. But to have him on the field and be able to do the things he does in the passing game, we're willing to kind of, limbo with it. But at the same time, you got to call the right stuff. You got to call the right stuff. You can't have him in wrong position.
That's going to happen. You have to make sure that you have the running back. If you're in shotgun, you got to make sure that the running back is on the side of the quarterback.
Now that's what they tried to do on that play. And what I'll do is, man, they both got blown up on the same side, bro. But also, when you look at the play, the way that the pass protection was designed, the Miami Dolphins overloaded the side that had Ingram and Saquon Barkley on it, right? They showed the blitz. It reminds me of a play that happened with Daniel Jones against the Eagles where it was against the Bucs actually with Daniel Jones, where they showed the blitz up front. They had 8 in the box, and then they backed up, and Daniel Jones threw an interception on that out route. I think it was Devin White tipped it, and then they got intercepted. It reminded me of that package, except they didn't fake the blitz. They sent the house. And it was like the Giants just looking around like, yo, I don't know who to block. They didn't know who to – it's like Daniel Jones, and I'll put some of this on Billy Price because the center is pretty much the captain of the offensive line. Yeah. And when he sees things up front, they're making checks and they're making reads and making calls. You're going to adjust here. You get this guy. You get this guy. They're more putting the pass protection strong side to their right when the whole blitz is coming to our left. And they just get blown up. So I think a lot of it has to do with coaching. Man, on multiple running plays, they got stopped for no gain or 1-yard gain. It seemed like the Giants couldn't get to the second level. And the Miami Dolphins, I'm not 100%, but I think they were running a 3-4 and a 4-3 in this game. Because I remember times where there was 4 linebackers, and you would see everything happen up front with the line, And those 4 linebackers, just nobody blocking them. They're literally they're not falling for fakes, for play actions, for nothing, man. I want to say, like, teams got the tape on us, and maybe that's where Jason Garrett could be to blame a little bit there, is where they see it and they know what we're going to run before we run it.
Big shout out to Tuto. Speaking of coaches, New York Giants, 2 Super Bowls were results of Coach Coughlin's master plans. Perfect roster, perfect playbook, and perfect execution. Shout out to Tuto.
Shout out to the homie Tuto one time in the building. I see another one in the chat that we got to bring up because it's the homie. Ben Ball, you said that nobody outside of New York thought the Giants were playoff bound. And Robert Dredden says, Ben B, I'd beg to differ. And I got to agree with him. There were a lot of people that thought with the signing of Kenny Galladay, all the money spent, that this Giants team could at least get to around 8 or 9 wins. I don't think people thought that the Giants would be sitting at 4-8 here going into Week 14.
And especially they were in a very similar situation to the Washington football team because of the way that the 2 teams' defenses ended their season last year.
Yeah, strong defenses, just had to make upgrades on offense. Washington football team brought in Curtis Samuel. The Giants bring in Kenny Galladay. We draft Kadarius Toney first round. People were thinking this is going to be lights out.
Saquon's coming back.
Saquon back, because you can't forget that 2020 was pretty much a whole year without Saquon. What else? We got Kyle Rudolph in the upgrade at the tight end position. People thought that would help. Adoree Jackson to lock down the other side, weak side corner. We were thinking this defense was going to be dominant. We can't forget about the injury to Blake Martinez, too. I mean, that definitely hurt this New York Giants defense, and they were trying to figure out their way with Reggie Ragland.
Steve Nash was the other piece on that team.
Oh, yeah. Good call on that one, Kevin.
And then he says base numbers, if you cut Galladay in 2022, it's a $16.5 million cap hit.
Yeah, and the Giants, they're expected to have $3 million going into next season. I mean, we're hit, man. We're hit.
Wait, what? That's the expected salary cap space that you guys have is only $3 million?
$3 million. With the new cap is what I saw. And I saw somebody came out with a new cap video today. Man,
you're gonna have to that's what creates an issue. Now this is gonna come to see what type of the GM direction you go to because you have 2 draft picks, right? Now
2 first rounders.
because of that cap situation,
signing those first round picks.
You're almost gonna have to draft. There's no room for growth. You're almost gonna have to draft 2 people that are going to be able to immediately be plugged in.
They'll probably be offensive linemen. The only thing I see the Giants doing outside of getting 2 offensive linemen in the first round would be maybe getting an offensive lineman and an edge rusher, and if they see their guy, maybe getting a quarterback and an offensive lineman. But yeah, that's the problem. Those first round deals, bro, they're like $20 million. How are you even going to sign these guys? You're going to have to make cuts, which is why I talked about the life preservers and the rafts that are going to come here and who's going to be saved. Who are the players? Is a guy like James Bradbury going to be on this Giants roster next year? Jabril Peppers, they're not going to. Did you see the cryptic tweet that Jabril Peppers put out there?
No.
He says something like it's a saying that's about a symphony. And like just because you're the head of the orchestra doesn't mean that you are going to be able to craft a masterpiece symphony. And a lot of people were like, is that about Freddie Kitchens? Because I think Freddie Kitchens was the one that traded Jabril Peppers to the New York Giants for Odell Beckham. And a lot of people were saying maybe that's about Joe Judge. It's very cryptic. Maybe it's about none of those. I don't really like to dig too deep into those because you never really know. He could have been talking about a homie that did him dirty.
Yeah, he could have just watched a really crazy movie and just thought that quote was cool and put it
But you know how it is during football season. You can't be tweeting out about no movie because you know how the fans is going to jump on it. But what players are actually going to be back here? Are they going to bring back a guy like Logan Ryan? Offensive line-wise? Nate Solder's going to be out of here. Do you cut people like Matt Pert, who have not done anything for this team? 3rd or 4th round draft pick, I believe he was. Who else is out there? I mean, all these offensive linemen that you signed and traded for. Billy Price was a guy we traded for. And the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line coach said that Billy Price went from being awful, being a bust, to being a guy who was serviceable, and the Giants went out there and traded for him.
It's trouble in paradise. Big shout out to Tucho for the $4.99 super chat. Says, I hate to say this, but as a player, it seems like somehow the opposing teams have our playbook, schemes, and play calls.
1,000%, man. It really feels like that. Go look at 22-man cam and just look at the way the linebackers react to our offense. They don't fall for nothing. They don't fall for no fakes. They don't fall for no play action. When it's a running play, they just go right down to the box and make the stops. And this is now like 3 weeks in a row here. The Bucs game is where it really put me on notice. I was looking in the Bucs game. We tried to run the flood concept like way too much in the Bucs game. Every time, the flood concept, for those that don't know, it'll usually take your outside wide receiver, a guy like Kenny Galladay or Darius Slayton, run a fly down the field to literally just take that safety out. Defenses, especially the Bucs in that game, they wouldn't even have their safety go with the fly route. They would have their safety waiting on the deep out route. So, imagine a fly route on one side. On that same side, you got a deep out. And on that same side, you got somebody taking care of the flats, whether it be a tight end or the running back coming out of the backfield going into the flats. So you have 3-level concept there. Guy in the flats, guy intermediate, guy running that fly. Man, they weren't even paying attention to the fly when we played the Bucs. Their safeties would put their backs to the sideline and wait on the out route, intermediate route, which to me says they know it's coming. And that was Pat Shurmur's scheme that everybody loved. Everybody loved that flood concept. It's what got Teddy Bridgewater the starting job for the Broncos, because he ran the flood concept to perfection. And to see that, now you're looking at the Miami Dolphins in a game where the Giants, man, we really needed it to really stay in this hunt. We really needed this game here. And me and the Beard, we were talking about trying to make a playoff kind of in the hunt video. And last minute, something told me, I was like, man, let's not make that video yet. Let's pump the brakes on it, because I don't like talking about the playoffs when there's really no real vision for the playoffs for our team. And I felt like, you know what? Like, if the Giants go out here and they lose to the Miami Dolphins, the whole playoff hunt thing can kind of go to bed. You could put that to rest. And that's what happens in this game. The Miami Dolphins, yeah, their defense dominated us. And I know we had a backup quarterback in the game, but this offense can't move. This offense, and a lot of it got to do with the personnel, I think, too, man.
Yeah.
Injuries obviously have played their toll. You can't get no kind of rhythm because one guy's hurt, the next guy's here, the next week, that guy who was here last week gets hurt, and the other guy's coming off the bench coming back from an injury. You got no kind of continuity with these wide receivers and with these injuries that are happening on the New York Giants. So it's like there really is no hope out here when you got Mike Glennon playing backup quarterback, targeting a guy like Farrell Cooper, who wasn't on the roster for the first half of the season.
Where's my boy Colin Johnson at, man?
I don't know what happened with Colin Johnson this week. We definitely didn't see him in the mix. And the other homie, David Sills, he went back to the practice squad. He got in, I want to say like around week 5, week 6, ran one quick slant and dropped it, and they were just like, take your ass back to the practice squad, bro.
There's just – this game is frustrating too, because 17-9 with 4 minutes left. It's a one-possession game.
We were playing awful. Got down to the red zone that one time. I want to say it was late in the first quarter, and that was that.
And that's the other thing too, man. It's just you see drives like the third quarter was a 69-yard drive.
Yeah.
And that completely changed everything. Now it's that hurts you right there. You got to score touchdowns on drives like that.
And a lot of Giants fans were mad at the Mike Glennon interception early, right? And I'm just like, they're like, why are you throwing it into double coverage? Okay, it was like a cover 2-man concept. The guy who intercepted the ball is Darius Slayton down there. Darius Slayton had him beat by 5 yards.
Yeah.
Safety's coming from over the top. If you put that ball in the right spot, you got to get that one out there. That's one of them ones you got to look at it like, I'm throwing this to Deshaun Jackson. I got to get this out there. That's been Mike Glennon's problem since he got in. He had one like that against Dallas. It was a post route against Dallas. Right in the middle of the field, it opened up, looked like we had something. He underthrows the ball, interception. In this one, people want to say, oh, he's throwing it in the double coverage. He underthrew the ball. And then you look at the little post corner that he had to Evan Ingram, where Evan Ingram got his hips turned around 3 times on the same route, which is, when I saw it on TV, I was like, yo, that looks crazy. And I tweeted out, I blamed it on Evan Ingram. Shout out to Sebastian, who was telling me, like, I don't know, man, it might have been on the quarterback. So I went back and I looked at the 22-man cam on it today. He shouldn't have opened up his hips 3 times, but the ball is overthrown. It would have been kind of like the one that was last year against the Philadelphia Eagles that was on Evan Ingram's fingertips. But he overthrew him by about 3 yards. But Evan Ingram, playing wide receiver, bro, you can't open up your hips 3 times And on the third time, you're opening your hips up to the same side you open them up the first time. That's what DBs do because they can't catch. But, you know, to me, it's just like you can't look at this. Giants fans have been asking to throw the ball down the field at all costs. They're like, I don't care if Daniel Jones throws interceptions. We just want to see him try to throw the ball down the field. And then you see Mike Glennon throw the ball down the field and you get an interception. You go, why is he throwing it into double coverage? I'm not one of those fans, bro.
Listen, you know, that's how it's going to be no matter what.
Yeah, that's the damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I don't know where the Giants are going moving forward here, man. I tweeted out a couple weeks back, man. If all goes right, Mike Glennon gets benched and Fromm comes off that bench looking like Johnny Moxon. And I got to holler at you about that. I got something in the works we got to talk about. We ain't going to talk about it today because I gotta iron it out a little bit more. In about a couple days, I have a fantastic idea I'm going to present to you that we're about to get to working on for sure. But maybe Fromm comes off that bench, man, and maybe we get a Johnny Moxon. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe you get your Taylor Heineke.
That would be fantastic. That would be fantastic.
Big shout out to Tuto for the $4.99.
I like how you're like, oh.
It's so clear and obvious. All our opposing teams are blowing every single play before we even snap the ball. They're not even guessing. They know it all. Bars.
Facts. I'm right there with you too, though. That's what it's feeling like, man. And we'll maybe in the offseason we'll figure out why this happened to the New York Giants this season and why it just seems like every team has our number as far as the matchup of our offense versus the defense. I'm with you on that, E-Suds. Facts. Shout out Ben Ball you one time. A 10. A 10.
10.
What did he say when he came back from getting his cat scanned? They scanned my cat. Boy, it was a Billy Bob, right? Yeah, we need some Billy Bob hog mod. The crazy thing is that Billy Bob had a hog. You remember the hog?
I mean,
they was feeding the hog. It was pouring them beer and stuff like that at the high school. Why were they promoting them high schools drinking so much too? Because they drank everywhere they went. Tweeter was getting pilled.
Bruh, it's Texas.
It's Texas. That's facts.
I mean, this isn't Einstein versus Blair, you know. It's the Panthers, man. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever watched Friday Night Lights, the TV show?
Yeah, it's solid. Everyone loves it. I still don't think it got nothing on the movie.
Yeah, the movie is the movie. But you've seen it all the way through every season, every episode,
it was solid.
all the way through Michael B. Jordan and everything. All right.
Yep. It was solid. And I hate when they remake stuff like that. They did a fantastic job of remaking the movie.
Coach Taylor is the man.
For sure.
And Buddy Gary.
I realized that in the movie, they lied about a lot of things to make the movie a little bit better.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's
there's
everything.
a documentary about the Carter
the real
high school.
Panthers.
Not the Panthers.
The
Carter team
the other team that they lost to
because they caught a lot of flack
championship.
for looking like they were a team that cheated a lot and had a bunch of players on their team. Because remember, Jesse Armstead was on that team. They played against the Permian Panthers.
Yes.
And they made another documentary or a movie that was about that whole team, the Carter team, and how that they lied a lot in the Friday Night Lights film. Joey G, Malik Willis. I'm on board, man, because I'm off the Daniel Jones thing. I got to see a little bit more from Malik Willis. I need to see some more of the tape and watch. I want to watch all the games.
Well, I can't wait till we have to decide.
Robert said, "You want to win? Put Booby in." Man, Booby Miles and I forget the running back's name in Varsity Blues. Wendell, I think his name was.
Yeah.
It's like, Kilmer, man, you always taking me out when we get to the goal line, man. Johnny Moxon was like, don't even trip, cuz I got you. We about to get you. He's like, man, I only got Marshall writing me letters, man. I'm one of the best running backs in the state, and I can't even get no Division I offers or whatever. I only got, I think it was either Marshall or Grambling or something like that sending me letters, man. But he was a beast, man. And shout out to them cameramen on that movie because those angles when he was running the ball, man, those low tracking camera angles were just fantastic. But Varsity Blues didn't age too well for me. I went and tried to watch it the other day, and I was kind of getting bored. I ain't gonna lie.
It's a little more PG-13.
Yeah. Even though they were going to the strip club, drinking, doing all that. maybe
Yeah,
it wasn't
but I mean,
PG-13
like, you know,
vibes.
it's
A lot of
also
tits, you know.
James Vanderbeek is playing quarterback. Like, he doesn't, you know.
He did a good job too, man.
Rest in
Moxon.
peace, Paul Walker, too. You know
Rest
what I'm
in
saying?
peace, Paul Walker. My man, Paul Walker. Vince, is that his name of the movie? Lance.
I don't remember.
Lance. His name was
Listen,
Lance.
you don't want to be QB1 in a movie or a TV show. It just never ends up well.
Yeah, Cap Rooney. That didn't
Streeter?
work out too well.
Streeter? What was his name?
Streeter was-
Streeter.
Streeter
It
was
was
in
Jason. He was the quarterback in the Friday Night Lights, the
what?
series.
Oh, in the series.
He
Yeah,
ended
and
up
you
in
know
a
what's crazy
wheelchair
about
after the
series,
first
too?
episode.
The running back was really, the backup running back was really the better running back. Booby wasn't the real running back on that team. It was the kid, he was Jet Jackson.
Jet
on the
Jackson.
TV
That's
show
just
and on the
gonna
movie,
call him Jet
call him Jet
Jackson.
Jackson.
I mean, Jet Jackson sounds like a good running back name too.
Man, Jet Jackson does sound like a running back name. You're right about that one.
But here you go. Here you go. I don't want.
I don't
Your
want
life.
your life.
We're gonna do a whole Authentic in the Beard sports movie episode one day.
We should do some football movie talk one day, man. That would be interesting, man. I saw Tim from Online Big Blue when he was ending his stream a couple days ago. He started talking about a bunch of films.
Smash. That's the guy from. That's the running back from the show.
Oh, Smash was from the show. Gotcha.
Smash was like Booby. Booby and
Yeah.
Smash were 1-1.
Yeah, Booby, man. What's my man? I can't remember homie's name. Dark skinned dude from Antoine Fisher, I believe it was, or no, it was the
Yeah.
wasn't it? Was
Yeah,
it
yeah.
Antoine Fisher? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a good actor, man. He hasn't done much lately.
Oh. Dude,
man,
Omar
the
Epps was
program.
walking
Come on,
around.
man.
Omar Epps was walking around campus with that football.
Love that movie.
That's what they need to start doing.
You
making
know what I
some of
feel
these
like
kids
too?
do.
The program and higher learning with Omar Epps and both
We're
of
on
them
the same campus.
could have been like
same
part
college.
2. Could have been the same movie, to be honest.
Same
but both
college.
fantastic films, man. I love
Yeah.
the program. Put the women and children to bed and let's go hunt for dinner, man. Yo,
Halle Berry. Can't go
Kane
wrong
was
with
that.
Halle
He was
Berry.
that man. Yeah, it was Halle Berry. Then it was Tyra Banks. So similar. So similar. Now I love how when Omar Epps fumbled in class, one of his teammates hit the ball out of his hand. They all scrambled for the ball on the ground, and he finally came up with it, like, looking all crazy. Man, that's a great film. Program is definitely top 2, top 3 football movies.
But
Oh
everybody knows
man,
him.
the snot bubbles too, yo. Yeah, you was the one that was talking about my mama. Went right for them. Alvin Mack. Oh man, you got to have a story like that. When Alvin Mack destroyed his knee, bro, I was so mad watching him watch the game at home on crutches and had his leg up. I was so blown about that. There's certain players you just want them to win in the movie and they don't. Booby was one of them, and Alvin Mack was another, man. Shout out to the program and shout out to Friday Night Lights. Great films.
Shout out to Snot Bubbles.
Snot bubbles. That dude was
First
the
team
quarterback
defense.
for Michigan that had the snot bubbles. I don't know if you remember
Yeah.
that. That was the
Yeah.
great thing about that movie. They used real schools, but the main school, East,
Was
what
not
was
a real
it?
school.
It wasn't
was
a real
like-
school.
No, State or something like that.
No, it was East Carolina. It was East Carolina. Maybe it is
East
a real
Carolina
school.
State.
It was something like that because I remember looking it up and the colors weren't. It wasn't a
The
real
same,
jersey
yeah,
or
'cause
none
East
of that.
Carolina, the East Carolina Pirates. They're
Yeah.
purple and yellow, and they were
Yeah,
like
they were-
gold and red.
Yeah, they was gold
They,
and red.
kind of
looked
had
like
a
the
Florida
49ers.
State vibe,
Like
almost.
Florida State vibes. Yeah, definitely like some Florida State vibes for sure, man. Shout out to Miz one time in the building, man. Salute to the homie. Ben said Booby hurt the most. Yeah, yeah. Booby definitely hurt the most.
Robert over here, he's dropping the whole script in the chat right now.
That's facts, man. All right, well, let's move to this last game, man. The best game of the week, especially if you are a Washington football team fan, man. They came out with this victory. Let me give y'all something gangster for this one. All right, man. So I love this intro, by the way, too. On Sunday, newly signed kicker Brian Johnson made quite the first impression on his new Washington football teammates. I didn't even know his name, said defensive tackle Jonathan Allen. We just brought him up. After throwing an interception that put the Raiders in position to take the lead 15-14, Taylor Heineke responded with some late-game heroics once again, driving his team down the field to set up Brian Johnson's 48-yard field goal with 38 seconds remaining. It's literally the same thing that happened against the New York Giants, Heineke said. I feel like we play really well in the 2-minute drill. We practice it a lot. Guys executed really well, and we got lucky on that one throw, but that's football. Heineke finished the day 23 of 30 for 196 yards and now has led 4 game-winning drives in his first year as the starting quarterback for the Washington football team. What can you say about him? Allen said, he just keeps showing why he needs to be our quarterback. 5 days after joining the Washington football team, Brian Johnson kicked the game-winning field goal to beat the Las Vegas Raiders 17-15 on Sunday for Washington's 5th straight win. The Beard, the floor is yours, man. Let's talk about this roadmap.
Well, I mean, it got a little sketchy there, a little dicey.
A little dicey.
I was definitely yelling at the TV, looked over at Tank. I said, they're not running the damn ball enough. So we fell backwards a little bit because we were at that sort of 40 rushes, 20, 25 passes. This game, although balanced, I still think you need to run the ball a little bit more.
Yeah.
It was 30-30, even split. 30 run plays, 30 pass plays. Taylor Heineke, he continues to keep doing this. He's great at times. And then if Taylor Heineke wasn't throwing the ball like, Taylor Heineke's bad Taylor Heineke in this game, he would have one-upped himself again. Because he just...
You did say you had some beef for the Washington football team. You did say you had some beef. But I got to just throw this little nugget out there. Only 7 of his passes were not caught.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, Listen, look. But the first touchdown pass, thank God Logan Thomas, because that
Big
thing
catch.
was getting ready to go into the
yeah.
third row of the back of the end zone.
Had to high point that one. He was looking like my man Andrew Thomas on that one.
Listen, there's a couple of he's gonna get somebody killed out there, man. And I don't know what it is. And I'm obviously I'm not trying to nitpick, but I have to because it's my responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Big shout out to Kevin the PRF for the $5 super chat. One of our only beginning to end of an episode Washington football team fans. Says, game-winning drives, great. Can we please stop this trend of 3 to 4 3-and-outs in the middle of the game when it should have been put away? Definitely something that needs to be talked about because the offense got super stagnant. They didn't score any points for 2 quarters. And I think a lot of that has to do with is they got away from the run game again. They started trying to, and that's what, if you see a 3-and-outs, most 3-and-outs come from 2 incomplete passes in a 3-and-out, as opposed to 2 failed runs or 1 run, 1 pass. Most 3-and-outs occur from 2 incomplete passes because at that point you've dug yourself into a hole that you probably have to pass the ball again, or if you get sacked, now you end up running a draw on 3rd and 18. Okay. Yeah. But all that being said, I don't want to take away from Taylor Heineke because he did some amazing things in this game. I mean, that one play where he did the swoop and dive, and he once again looking like Catherine Zeta-Jones out here in entrapment. He didn't complete the pass because he threw it high, but it was still, a good play. There was the one play he threw on his back foot to Terry McLaurin on 3rd down. That was a huge play. There was some really suspect play calling again on the first drive, the touchdown drive. Antonio Gibson, at that time, I'm thinking, oh man, he just saved his drive. And when I look back at it, he basically saved the game on that play because the 3rd and 1 call was horrendous. It was like a misdirection sweep toss to Antonio Gibson. Nothing gets my blood boiling more than putting the ball back 3 yards to go 1 yard forward. I just don't understand it. Never have, never will.
Yeah, you don't like those plays that much, but those you see some of the premier wide receivers in this league can make that play every time. The Devontae Adams, the D-Hops, they'll take that 3-yard pass that's behind the backfield and get big yards out of it.
Yeah, but we don't have. He did it I don't even know what kind of play it was, but it was basically like a misdirection, quick toss to the left-hand side on the short side of the hash of the field. And Antonio Gibson is running dead in the water for a 4-yard loss. And he somehow cut back inside and cut it up and barely got the first down. Yeah. And then we end up scoring on the next play, which was huge. And 3rd downs, Washington is starting to get a little bit better. 7 of 13 in this game. Defensively, the Raiders are horrible on third down. So you had to make a conscious effort of stopping them on third down, which they were able to do. The Raiders were only 2 of 8 on third down in this game.
Yeah. And that's better for them. They've been awful on third down.
Yeah, they were like, what was it, two third down conversions in 2 weeks at one point? It was just really bad. Defensively, Jamin Davis, I thought, played a good game. He made a couple of plays. He made a huge stop where he ran from the left side of the field all the way across to the right side of the field to make basically a game-saving tackle on what would have been a first down. There was one drive that the Raiders did have where the linebacking core specifically was getting eaten alive, this game we had a really bad tackling issues in this game too. They couldn't find ways to make tackles. So there was definitely a lot of stuff. A win is a win. And you talked about this in the beginning of the show about Dallas, and they got to win these tough games. I mean, these games, Washington, it is every single week. I am on the edge of my seat. There's no holding back.
Y'all games have been very, very thrilling. I will say that. I enjoy y'all games. I will say that.
It's just been super difficult, and obviously, the last play of the game. I thought I was. Let me tell you, I damn near lost it about 4 times at the end of this game because I'm sitting here watching it with Tank, and Tank is like, he's like, Heineke's gonna go down the field and this and that. And I'm like, man, you can't be saying things like that. You can't be jinxing it. And then he's like, the new kicker is gonna come in. I'm like, stop, just don't say anything. Let's just watch the game, okay? I mean, like, big faith, big kick. I mean, it just everything kind of like fell your way. And obviously, the Raiders got the ball back and they threw that ball up. And I said, oh, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
How he even got behind him is beyond me.
I think it's the referees really did them a disservice not making that call.
You think
that's
so?
unfortunate. Yeah, man. It's a hold at bare minimum. The jersey was extended, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not like he just gave him one tug. He was running with him, holding the jersey.
Oh no, it was just a late tug. It wasn't like it wasn't like a serious hold. It was like a late tug. Now, that being said,
do you think that messes up the wide receiver? Yeah.
On that particular play, no.
Yeah, dog, when he goes to put his hands up, he's so trying to fight the jersey that the ball hit him on the top of the helmet. He couldn't even gauge where to put his hands out. Yeah, whatever. It's not something I'll argue because the last one with the Dallas, you were in favor of it as well. You thought that it was a pass interference, and the defense against the one that the Dallas had against the Raiders was better than the defense that your guy had tugging on the jersey that far down the field. You do that 5 yards, I might let it go.
That being said, if I was on the opposing team, I would have been heated about it for sure.
Because it's a flag, bro. You can't look, on what playing field can you hold somebody's jersey, bro? If you saw that on the offensive line,
it happens in the games all the time, throughout the entire game. There was a lot of hands going on in that.
Hand stuff is one thing. You see a lot of wide receivers getting away with the push-offs nowadays. Odell Beckham's touchdown that he got on Sunday, I thought he got away with a push-off. I'm okay with that. But when you literally are grabbing onto the jersey, that is different to me. It's like a holding penalty, right? If you let's say you're playing left tackle and the defender's trying to get to your quarterback and you use like your bicep and you hold them and you don't get the call, I'm okay with that. But if the defender's trying to go past you and you literally holding on to the jersey like this, I want the call. If I'm a Raiders fan in this game, especially in that pivotal of a moment, and this the crazy part about it for me is that I thought in the Dallas game, you might have wanted to let it go because of the circumstances, and he makes a conscious effort to not put his hands on the receiver because he knows the ball's coming over his head. He makes that effort to put his hands up. In this one, I don't know who was in coverage there, but he's literally holding on to the jersey at the end of it. And maybe it's because both of these teams benefited from big penalties in the third quarter to set them up for their touchdowns. Maybe that's why the referees were, maybe trying not to throw more flags in this game, because you got to think about this one in the third quarter. There was that illegal block below the waist on the Raiders safety, Jonathan Abram, that y'all got that set y'all up for that touchdown, 75-yard touchdown drive, 9 plays. And then the Raiders.
That's the one that took Logan Thomas out of the game.
I'm not sure if it was the same play as that one. I don't think they called the penalty on that. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
that might have been a different play that they didn't call it. And shout out to Logan Thomas because the MRI came back or whatever in his knee. It's not a torn ACL, so thank God for that. But the other one was when the Raiders, y'all scored, the Raiders answered on a 5-play touchdown drive right after that, and there was a big roughing the passer penalty on that drive, and a pass interference call on Cole Holcomb. So I think that they felt maybe in the third quarter
that was bad.
That was bad. And it put them on the 1-yard line. Then they run it in with Josh Jacobs for the touchdown. So I think maybe they're like, all right, we need to kind of choke the whistle a little bit and not throw so many flags, and especially make one. This one would have cost y'all the game.
100% it would have cost us the game. And listen, if they would have thrown the flag, I couldn't have argued against them throwing the flag. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
He's holding the jersey.
Yeah.
He's holding the jersey.
But
I could understand if you got one little tug, one little, grasp, a little something like that. I'll chop that play up for you, bro. He's riding him, running with him, holding the jersey for about 2 steps at least. And as a wide receiver, you got to think about what that does. Do you know the drill that they practice on with DBs? I used to see Serge do this all the time when he was in the CFL, where they put the parachute on you.
Mm-hmm.
It's the exact same thing. You're running down the field, and imagine somebody just opens up your parachute. It's why he misjudged the ball, because the pass is right on the button. All he got to do is kind of just slow up and get in a position for it. Instead, he's getting tugged, trying to fight the tug. He kind of overran the ball and tried to put his head up, and the ball hits him on the top of the helmet. So for me, it's like, all right, they don't make the call. I'm not a Raiders fan, so I'm not pissed about it. You could go either way with that one, and I'll be like, whatever. But I think it was a pass interference call, and I think maybe those early third quarter penalties were a reason to be like, let's not throw the flag here. I think each team had 6 penalties in this game.
If they did call that, right, I would think it would have been called a holding as opposed to a pass interference.
Yeah, but you go spot of the foul, right? It wouldn't just be – it'd be 5 yards.
No, holding is 5 yards, automatic first down.
But I don't think you can hold
Pass
that
interference
far down the field. If you hold a wide receiver 50 yards down the field, it's not just going to be a 5-yard penalty, automatic first down. But I do think it's a reason why they might want to readdress the pass interference call here, because, look, nobody wants a game to end on a 50-yard pass interference call at the end to set up a team to kick the game-winning field goal. I've had the Giants lose games like that, and I'll be like, you remember the one Daniel Jones debut game where we scored, right? And then the Bucs got the ball back, and Mike Evans got the pass interference call on Jackrabbit. Set them up to get the game-winning kick.
Yeah.
Thank God they missed it, right? So nobody wants to see a game end like that, which might be a reason to maybe change the pass interference call in the NFL, man, because when you just heave up the ball, 2 things happen when you have the pass interference call at the spot of the foul. When you do a Hail Mary, they're never going to call pass interference. I can remember one time with Gronkowski where they threw a Hail Mary at the end of the game. Yo, you got 4 guys trying to pull his shoulder pads down, and they don't make the call because they know it's going to be on the 1-yard line, and that's going to be an easy chip shot to win the game. So maybe they need to readdress that. Even if you readdress it in the last 2 minutes, which I think would kind of be a foolish way to do it, but it would be better than what we have now. You can't have games ending like that where you could clearly see it. We have cameras all over the field. So when they see that, this year, in fact, you've seen referees, they say you're not supposed to be able to use the footage to change the call. But they'll make the call on the field, right? And then the referees all huddle up. I guarantee you they're just waiting on somebody up in the booth to be like, yeah.
They are. They introduced that this year. It's the
right. But it's supposed to be only on certain calls that they can interject with that.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, we saw it up here. You guys are wrong. Change that.
Yeah. But I tell you, I think a lot of that, it might sound crazy, but I can guarantee you that a lot of that has to do with the black glove, black jersey, 100%.
Yeah, but that's why I'm talking about the cameras. When you get that, they huddle up all the time and go.
Yeah.
Actually, after further conclusion,
I don't think you can call. I think that's one of the things you can't do is like call a penalty without already calling a penalty.
I don't think you can. But like, are we implementing cameras in the game and in the refereeing of the game to make it better and more accurate, or to do silly stuff like that? That's what puzzles me about it. But the other thing I wanted to say about this game is Washington had a fast start in this game. That first drive, you talked about the first drive, 10-minute drive, right? They outgained the Raiders in the first quarter, 120 yards to 31 yards. Y'all had a dominant first quarter, but only came away, leading that first quarter 7-0. And things just extremely slowed down in the second quarter of this game. Because you go to halftime at 7-3. Washington and Las Vegas, they combined after that for 6 punts after that Logan Thomas touchdown in the first quarter. And then they got a field goal from the Raiders right there to end the half. And you go in 7-3 when in reality, we know these are those kind of games we talk about. Like, you got to, when you see that window, you got to seize the opportunity and really pounce on a team like the Raiders, who we know is a bad bad defense against the rush. Okay? But their pass defense is really good. Their pass defense is ranked 13th right now in the NFL. And I think that's why you saw a little bit of Taylor Heineke struggling, because I think what aids their pass defense is their 2 edge rushers. You got to keep your eyes on them at all times.
Yeah,
and then you're trying to make some throws and you might be a little inaccurate.
And they caused that interception because they got to Heineke. They hit his arm, and then Heineke threw the duck, and it was an interception. That was a killer too. You know, obviously the turnover.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, it's funny because you see the play happen, and then you see everybody react, and they're like, "What was he doing? It was a duck," and then this and that, and then like they show you the slow replay, and you see he obviously got hit on the arm, and that's why the ball came out like that.
And man,
you know?
seeing they got to show you more. I think we need another camera angle introduced into the NFL, because I'm sick and tired of like seeing plays from the box, and when the quarterback throws the ball, I have no idea what routes are being ran down the field. I don't like that. And looking at 22-man cam today, man. It just, you see the play way better. And I'm not saying take away from some of those close angles for sure, because some of the close angles are amazing. Like, I love what they're doing with the end zone cameras now. Those look really good, man. They got those looking really sharp. But just maybe adding another wider angle. You know, what happened to that camera that was on the rope for a while there? Was that too distracting or something? Like,
no, they still got it. They still got the rope. Right? They only use it for like cutaways and cut-ins, you know, like in the huddle sort of situations. You know?
Because I bet that is a little bit distracting. If you're a wide receiver, you come out the break and see a camera on a zip line. Like, you know, I mean, that's going to be a little bit crazy. But
I thought you were throwing me the ball. Nah,
exactly.
man, it's a camera.
Like, literally. But the Raiders, the other thing that I thought the Washington football team did really good on the defensive side of the ball in this game was the Raiders were a big play team coming into this game. They had league best 58 passing plays of at least 20 yards, and they only had 2 on Sunday. Y'all shut down Deshaun Jackson. He only had 1 catch for 14 yards. Darren Waller was totally missed in this game, and we talked about Foster Moreau maybe coming in being able to do a little bit of damage, but he only had 1 catch. Granted, it was for 34 yards. That was a big play. And can't go without talking about Hunter Renfrow in this game. 9 catches,
one guy I said was
yards.
going to get his no matter what.
He's a baller. He is definitely a baller, and I just think that he doesn't have enough help in that wide receiver department over there. Deshaun Jackson is good, but when the big plays don't hit, you need another guy in there that's going to be able to, you know, be the Wayne Corbett.
I thought that they
would
feature.
Offense.
I thought they would feature more of Brian Edwards, and he had a couple of catches in this game, and it was like his first catch in the last like 2-3 weeks. Like, I don't know, like the target shares are really weird over there right now. I mean, Washington. Listen, let's just be perfectly frank. This is 2-3 weeks in a row. Washington got lucky.
Yeah,
but
snuck away with a good victory.
You unless you're a dominant team, you're gonna need a little bit of luck.
Yeah, and I think
luck doesn't always go your way. You're gonna lose a lot. You're gonna be unlucky in losses too. You know, so it balances itself out.
As long as you keep it close for this quarterback, he gonna make it happen. That's what I love about Taylor Heineke. If you keep it close for him, I know Kevin was talking about, kind of like screw the game-winning drives. You know, let's get rid of those 3 and outs in the middle, right? You 1,000% want to get rid of those 3 and outs in the middle. But what I love about Taylor Heineke, don't give him 2 windows. Do not give him 2 windows to try to go out there and win a game. You know, Daniel Jones only has 4 game-winning drives in his whole career. Taylor Heineke got 4 of them, and we sitting on week 13 right now. That dude's a baller, man. And one more, they interviewed Jonathan Allen after this game, and he had some fantastic quotes that I pulled. One more quote from him before we get off this one. He said, "We're not a star-studded roster. We don't have those big celebrities. We're not in L.A. or whatever the case may be, and we just don't care what anybody says. We believe in ourselves. We went out there and we played hard." That's the kind of things you want to hear from one of your stud first-round picks on that defensive line. And he's backing up the quarterback situation over there, talking about if he continues to play like this, then he got to be the guy. You give Taylor Heineke them 2 chances, and it goes back to what you were saying about Gardner Minshew, Jalen Hurts, and quarterbacks of that caliber. Don't give them too many opportunities to win that game, because they got that winner running right through their veins, running through their blood. They're going to win the game. And that's what I love about Taylor Heineke. He don't got the arm. He don't got the wheels. He's not the kind of guy who's going to get an 80-yard run like a Daniel Jones. He's probably not even that as fast as a guy like that. but he's going to do what he can do. He's going to keep himself out of harm's way. You remember when we were talking about the Kyle Allen
he's
plays?
gotten so much better at that.
He's gotten so much better, and people in Washington didn't want to give him time to develop. I remember 4 weeks ago, people were calling for Kyle Allen to come off the bench. And what was I saying? I was saying, yo, do you remember when Kyle Allen was in the game? He was playing fearless football, getting his block knocked off. That's the one thing I love about Taylor Heineke. That boy slide like he playing shortstop for the Nationals. I love it. His awareness is of a quarterback who can see everything coming from him, coming at him. He can see it, and he gets down. When's the last time you saw this kid take a big hit?
He took, not outside of the pocket. He hasn't.
I'm talking about, like
on the run.
Sacked.
No,
a quarterback's gonna get sacked all day. I'm talking about them hits like you saw the one that just took Daniel Jones' neck out, where I called it. I'm like, yo, your quarterback can't get hit like that. He better be Lamar Jackson if he's getting hit like that. He better be Josh Allen if he's getting hit like that. Taylor Heineke ain't scrambling out the pocket, taking no big hits. And I notice now he's even being a little less risky with when he get those runs where you see the end zone and you start to get happy. Yeah, you remember the play that we talked about on this channel, right? We were supposed to go on Rambling with Rio's show the week after. We were going to talk about Taylor Heineke, and everybody was like, why didn't he just dive in the end zone? It's because he's learning. The coaches are starting to tell him, bro, don't take that big hit. Live to see another down. If it's not 4th down, don't go out there diving with your helmet trying to get your head knocked off. We'll live to see another play. And in that situation, they did. It just so happens that they didn't convert on the next play. So everybody in fandom world was like, yo, what is he doing? What is he doing? Taylor Heineke is maturing and developing into a real quarterback in the NFL. I cannot wait, and I hope the best for Taylor Heineke, because imagine that kid year 3 in this system.
I don't want to do that.
I know you don't. You want another quarterback over there.
No.
I want to see Taylor Heineke play better. I want to see him continue.
That's not what I'm saying.
I mean, okay, well, as of a couple of weeks ago, that's what it was. You were like, this guy's a backup at best. Remember that?
Yeah, but I don't want to talk about. That's the problem, is that there's too much conversation about Taylor Heineke in the future. Okay,
well, listen, man. If this
he
guy
can play his way to that point,
if this guy has his teammates. You got Chase Young, when healthy, going like this to the back of that kid's jersey. You got Jonathan Allen here in the postgame interview talking about, look, if this kid keeps playing like this, he deserves to be here. So for me, I got to talk about the future, because, look, this is game 13 for Taylor Heineke.
Okay, but let me ask you this question then. If we're going to go down this road, I'll ask you this question. Are you paying him $100 million?
Didn't he sign a 2-year deal?
He did sign a 2-year deal.
We don't got to worry about that till 2023.
But this is what I'm saying, is that the fan base wants to – there are half of the fan base wants them to extend him and sign him as a franchise quarterback deal.
Well, you think about that when it's time to do that. For the New York Giants right now, we got to think about that in May. They're not about to do it early. Why? Why would you think about? That's what you really need to not be thinking about right now.
Because they don't want to. They are thinking that they don't want to go down the same road that they went down with Kirk Cousins.
So then, what you got to do is be prepared. If Washington drafts a quarterback in this draft, 2nd round, 3rd round, something like that, they see a guy, or next year, so be it. Yeah. Challenge him. We talking about Aaron Rodgers, bro. One of the best quarterbacks in the game. The Green Bay Packers were like, man, we're drafting a quarterback.
Yeah.
You got to cover your tail. You really got to cover your tail. But the way that Taylor Heineke is playing right now, I don't know where his ceiling is. Maybe we're looking at it. I don't know. Maybe we're looking at it because he doesn't have great arm talent. He don't got them wheels. But 2 things the kid has is great pocket awareness. Oh, you can add the third, his heart, for sure. And 2, he doesn't make the big mistakes to knock his team out of position. He's always giving the defense a chance. Taylor Heineke's like that guy who throws 1 interception a game, and it doesn't feel like those back-breaking ones. Half the time, it's not his fault. It's never that back-breaking turnover where you're just like, man, that kid lost us the damn game. Continuously. So for me, I'm looking at it like, he ain't even comfortable in the system yet. Imagine if things really get clicking.
He's comfortable in the system. That's the whole reason why they brought him here in the first place.
Well, then let me reword it then. We're talking about a quarterback who's in the first year with this roster in this system. Yeah. Terry McLaurin ain't going nowhere. Antonio Gibson ain't going nowhere. For a couple of years, he ain't going nowhere. He ain't going. He's on a rookie deal from 2019.
Who?
Terry McLaurin.
Terry McLaurin.
This is second year.
2019.
He's 2020.
This is his third year, 2019, 2020. This is his third year.
Oh, this is McLaurin's third year, so he's 2019 draft then, right? Played 2019, played 2020, and then now he's playing 2021.
So he has one more year left on his deal.
He got one more year on that deal. He's right there with Taylor Heineke. Right?
He might not. Because he was a second-round pick or a third-round pick, Terry McLaurin.
Yeah. So he's right
Does
there
that
with Darius
shorten it
Slayton.
out?
They were picked in the same draft. That's right.
Yeah. And
So
DK Metcalf.
they don't have the 5th-year option, I believe, when you talk about guys
So it
like
is the
that.
4 years.
But
Okay, so
it's
yeah,
beyond the
next year.
point.
Now that's
they're
somebody
gonna-
you're gonna have to pay the bag to. You give him
You're gonna
whatever
have to
he
pay him
wants.
the bag. He's proven
you give
that
him
he's
the
that
max
guy.
deal.
Okay,
Yeah.
he's proven that he's that guy. You're gonna see him around. Antonio Gibson is from the same draft.
I think he was the year after.
The year after. So you're looking at a running back now that has at least 2 more years. That core is gonna be there for a while. Taylor Heineke's done it with Seals Jones. He's done it with Logan Thomas. He even did it with that. What was that Reyes kid was getting a couple catches. You solidify the tight end position. You patch up. Taylor Heineke's doing this with backups on that offensive line right now. Imagine if he doesn't have to throw the ball 30 times in a game and he could just do the 21, 22, and you do a Mac Jones type vibe with him. Bro,
That's what I love. I love it.
He's going to be an incredible quarterback.
I think that's why he's gotten so much better. Because they stopped. I know I always preach about it, but I'm telling you, when they started running the ball more, 35 to 40 to 45 times, and not passing the ball 40 times, like I would be curious to see what his stats are for passing his games where he's passing under 30 attempts and over 30 attempts, like what the difference is between the two statistically. I think it just
I could
allows
crunch those
him,
numbers. I'll be having time here. I could crunch them numbers. It'd be interesting to check that out. Because look, speaking on Daniel Jones, every time we scored over 25 points, it was 8 times that we did that with Daniel Jones.
And he was under a certain amount of passes, right?
He was over. That's what's crazy about it. He's 4-4 in those, and most of those games he threw it over 35 times. I still got the note over there, but it's pretty much, I'm paraphrasing it a little bit, but he was throwing it over 35 times in his best games. In his best absolute game in the NFL against Washington, where he had 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, he threw the ball 41 times. You know, so I'd be interested to see what it's like for Taylor Heineke, because I think it will be the opposite. I think that Taylor Heineke's a better quarterback, clearly, when Antonio Gibson is healthy. Man, if you could get him throwing 22, 23 times a game, that dude could do what Ben Roethlisberger did as a career. And I'm not saying with the Super Bowls, but statistically what Roethlisberger was doing over there when they had Le'Veon Bell, when they had James Conner, he could do that. He could be that guy, and y'all could consistently be a team that could be talking about the playoffs for a long time to come. Terry McLaurin ain't going nowhere. That boy ain't going nowhere. And that duo is going to work, even in a game like this where Terry only had like 2 catches, I believe it was, on the day. But your running game, you committed to the running game. It works out perfectly. You had Antonio Gibson go for 88 yards on 23 carries, 5 receptions. That's what I loved about Antonio Gibson, stepping up in the passing game with the absence of J.D.
And we talked about him
McKissic.
having to do that without McKissic, you know? And it was always puzzling to me why they didn't use him. I mean, I know because you have McKissic, that's why. But I mean, Gibson was a wide receiver. He can catch the football. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a little bit different catching out of the backfield to a certain extent than running a route and catching it. But, I mean, the dude only carried the ball 10 times in his entire college career. So he was primarily a wide receiver. So
got them hands.
It's just going to be interesting to see.
That the not being a first-round draft pick just means he can't do the fifth-year option. So it's 4 years for him. And then he also confirmed that Antonio Gibson was drafted in the 2020 draft. And I like what Ben says here, too. My favorite thing about Taylor is his dual threat in the red zone. So why do we think Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback over here on Awthentik and the Beard? It's simply because of that right there. That dual threat, when you get in the red zone, Jalen Hurts out here killing them with rushing touchdowns, and he's throwing some. He had a bad passing game against the New York Giants, obviously, and now he's dealing with the ankle injury, but I love that dual threat. Quick, agility, fast. Not one of these guys that's just fast.
How come they're so bad in the red zone?
Who?
Washington.
I don't know. Maybe you could chalk it up to some of the problems that are happening with the offensive line. And Antonio Gibson being hurt doesn't work. What was y'all red zone statistics in this game?
I thought I had it down. I think it was.
Did I do red zone?
I have third down.
Zone.
I think they were one of two. I think
there was there's a super tap from Tudo, and I'm gonna look up the red zone statistics.
Big shout out to Tuto for the $4.99 super chat. Says DJ ain't a winning quarterback. He's just trying so hard for a big home run, knockout punch to hit a $40 million contract and cover his own tail.
Facts. Shout out to Big Tudo one time in the building, man. Definitely agree with you on that. And Washington was 2 for 2 in the red zone in this game. See, and that's what I feel. And I wanted that to support my point before I spoke on it. When you have a healthy Antonio Gibson, it makes Taylor Heineke that much better. And that's why I do, I respect when you said his cap was, he's a good backup in this league at best at that time when we were talking about it a couple weeks ago. The reason why I respect that is because if you remove a good running back from Taylor Heineke, he's not really a good quarterback. He needs that running game. He's not going to be able to put the whole team on his shoulders and go down there and just throw the ball 35 times, 40 times a game and get a W. That's not the style of quarterback.
Yeah,
that he
which is why he's not a franchise quarterback. That doesn't mean
definitely
just
not
because
franchise.
I say he's not a franchise quarterback. I think that's what the big misconception is between me and other.
But with the words
Washington
you said before, it wasn't about the franchise quarterback. It was that he was a backup at best.
Yeah,
I put Taylor Heineke. This is how Gardner Minshew looked rookie year.
and that's an interesting one. Some people were asking, that sort of comparison. I mean, yeah. Listen, Taylor Heineke has grown on me, and you know that because I was way, way worse on Taylor Heineke. You know what I'm saying? And obviously I want to see him succeed. He's my quarterback, so I'm not an idiot. I need him to do good for my team to do good. You know what I'm saying? And I that's why I got to give so much credit to the coaching staff and realizing I feel like they're starting to utilize the players that they have and play the type of football that suits those players best. And if you notice the way Antonio Gibson is running too, much more downhill, much more power, not as much zone, a lot more in between the tackles. Yeah. So I just think that there's a lot of different reasons why they're winning football games. And I think that's the best part about it. It's a lot better when you have multiple reasons as to why you're winning football games and not just being like our quarterback's throwing for 500 yards or our defense is unstoppable or, our running back is running for 200 yards, because it's a little bit different when everybody's kind of doing what they're supposed to be doing. And that's the big difference is especially defensively, the fact that you're only scoring 17 points in a game 2 weeks in a row. Do you know how difficult it is to win in the National Football League only scoring 17 points?
Yeah, it's almost impossible.
I bet you probably
Giants are
70% of the
points.
people, 70% of the teams that score 17 points a game lose.
Yeah, I mean that's down low for an offense to be averaging 17 points a game.
And you
Giants
can't do
are averaging
that.
18 points a game, bro, and we're one of the
You
worst
can't
teams
you
in
can't
the NFL.
score you can't score
Worst
17
offenses.
points next week and win. I'll throw that
Against
out there
Dallas.
as a
I mean, that's a high powered
I'll throw that as a
offense. You're not gonna
precursor
do-
to Thursday.
Yeah, 17 will be tough unless your defense comes out and plays like the Denver Broncos did. Then maybe that'd be the only way. But I don't see your defense doing that for sure. Taylor Heineke, man, it's really crazy. He got into the game off an injury, and I just do not see Ryan Fitzpatrick doing this in this offense. I just don't see him doing this.
I'm not gonna go because that's being hypothetical. So we never know. Like this offense could have been, if Curtis Samuel was healthy and Ryan Fitzpatrick never got hurt, like the offense might have been completely different. We'll never know. And it's
And
made
you
it
could tell
official
Curtis
today.
Samuel was playing with the hurt groin. He's not even the same kind of wide receiver. Not the same kind of guy.
And so Ryan Fitzpatrick finally got it's over.
Yeah, the
This
season
season's
ending
done.
now,
Yeah.
doing the surgery. I was never sold on that. And sometimes, man, like fate just happens. And for Washington football team right now, Taylor Heineke's situation is fate. I think it would have been 2 years y'all made the wrong mistake at the quarterback position had Ryan Fitzpatrick played the rest of this season. And thank the football gods if you're a Washington football team fan for a guy like Taylor Heineke just hanging out, sitting on his stepbrother's couch sleeping with his sister over there. don't even got a job, and this guy it's like Kurt Warner in a way of like, that it's birthing that Kurt Warner kind of thing. And who knows, maybe Washington, if y'all really get it together, imagine if y'all start striding. Y'all winning games like this when you didn't even play that well. Imagine you start getting everything clicking. J.D. McKissick comes back. Man, it could get real ugly in the NFC East, and y'all are the kind of team. I was talking about this about the Patriots early on. I was like, you don't want to see the Patriots in the wild card round, and now the Patriots are the number one team in the AFC, so you probably ain't gonna have to worry about them in a wild card. But the Washington football team is the exact same way. Even last year, y'all put up a great fight against the Bucs. I loved calling that play-by-play. And now y'all got this game Sunday going in against the Dallas Cowboys. Man, this is like, this for all the marbles right here. Y'all, if y'all can find a way to beat the Dallas Cowboys, that's going to put the league on notice about the Washington football team.
And the good thing is, though, is if we don't, we got a second matchup against them.
Yeah, y'all are in position. Y'all just won a couple of unexpected games here, 5 in a row. When I saw that today, I was like, damn, they did win 5 in a row. It's
pretty
crazy.
sure.
And I told you before the show, I was like, yo, it feels like it was 2 weeks ago where I was like, yo, man, hope y'all get a win next week so y'all could be like on the same page as the New York Giants now, and we could be at the bottom of the division together. And now they just won 5 in a row, sitting at 500.
I'm pretty sure I called that 5 in a row. That's crazy. This is part of my 5. So the first one was I had us losing to Tampa Bay.
Oh, yeah, and y'all beat them.
And then I had us beating Carolina. I had us beating Seattle, but I crossed it out apparently. And then I had us beating Vegas.
This is facts.
And then I got us. Yeah.
This is facts right here.
Yeah, I mean we beat them already this year.
Yep, that's facts right there. It's not like the Washington football team is the kind of team that I'm telling you just don't want to be matched up against them in the playoffs. Even a team like the Rams, Cardinals. There's so many teams I feel like y'all can match up with. If y'all defense just keeps y'all in that game, give Taylor Heineke 1 or 2 shots at the end, Washington can really upset somebody in the playoffs. But you got to get there first. I mean, there are a bunch of divisional games coming up here that y'all going to have to take care of a couple of these to get in. So y'all, right now, y'all are sitting at 6 wins or 7 wins? 6 wins,
6,
right?
we're 6 and 6.
6 wins, 6 and 6. And we got 5 more games left in the season. So I think y'all want to get to 9 wins, man. You want to win 3 out of 5.
I mean, yeah. I had us at 10 and 7. A lot of people are talking about this from the schedule. These are the nuances of the schedule you don't even think about when you're looking at the schedule in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I know. And the first half of the Washington football team schedule was so brutal. So brutal. It's tough, man. I don't know why the schedule guys did us like that this year, man. The NFC East, outside of the Dallas Cowboys, we've had a super tough schedule, man. And I was glancing at what the schedule is going to be like next year, and it looks like it's going to be a little bit easier finally because it feels like it's been 2 straight years now that the NFC East got the short end of the stick when it comes to the schedule.
Yeah, to say the least. Except for the Cowboys.
Yeah, because they finished last in the division. So it's kind of like, yeah, they got to play a lot of the more lackluster teams from the other divisions. But it's tough, man. They opened up against the Bucs, and then things got really easy for them. And, I got to just commend the Cowboys, and I got to commend the Washington football team because y'all win a lot of the games that y'all are supposed to win. The Giants, on the other hand, that's where we lacked. When we started off with that 0-3 start, we shot ourselves in the foot. I want to say that the Giants are 500 since starting off 0-3. So, if we could have just won some games up front, we'd be right there in the mix too. Still in the mix here in a bad NFC to maybe try to sneak in, but I'm not banking on it with the Giants. Washington football team is winning those kind of ugly games, and that's what good teams do. Good teams win those ugly games. Bad teams lose those ugly games. And the Giants continue to do that. Washington football team's continuing on the up and up. Hey, man, y'all get a little healthy here, man, make y'all a little run. I think J.D. McKissick is a big part of y'all winning some of these games in this 5-game NFC East stretch y'all got coming up.
What's interesting is you guys are technically still in the hunt, right? And this is the game that you've been talking about since we looked at the schedule all along.
Oh, yeah. Chargers game. It was the one I was saying that the Giants are going to have to surprise. And that was with me not picking us beating the Dallas Cowboys. So, realistically, for the Giants, I mean, the little bit of hope that's there, you lost to Miami, so now you got to beat the Chargers. You got to beat Dallas. You got to beat Philly. You got to beat Washington. and you
You
got
got
to
to win
beat
out,
Chicago.
right? You guys are 4-8 right now.
Yeah, you got to win out or hope for a lot to go wrong. Yeah, you got to win out. That's really what it is, and I don't see that happening right now.
The thing is, there's 3 wild cards, and only one of the wild cards right now currently has a winning record.
Yeah,
The
but we'll
two
see how
wild
things
card
go
teams
down
are
this stretch, man.
500.
We looked at the Vikings schedule a couple episodes ago. They got a pretty easy finish there. They play the Bears twice within this stretch coming up. This 5-game
Yeah, but they
stretch.
also lost to the Lions, which
That's a trap game, man. Don't forget the Jets beat the Titans.
Yeah.
That was a trap game. And that's why I felt that in my gut that the Lions were going to get their win there. Because the Vikings play down to their competition, man. That's their biggest problem. You know? And it just seems like now they'll take care of the Bears, I think, twice. That'll get them 2 more wins. They'll be in the mix there towards the end. And you gotta keep your eye on the Saints. You know, they've been a team, I talked about that in that breakdown, how they just be beating teams that are so unexpected. They beat the Bucs too. You know, recently with the backup, or no, not with the backup quarterback though. They did that. That was Jameis Winston.
That was the
last year.
game I think Jameis
got hurt
Winston got hurt
Yeah,
in. Was the Tampa Bay game.
yeah, I think it was that. And then who else you got there in the mix? Carolina's still kind of straggling around a little bit. And the Bears are kind of there, but I'm not banking on the Bears. But I mean, yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll start with this 1 week at a time here with the New York Giants. If they can beat the Chargers, then we'll start to see if we can make a run here, because maybe 8 could get you that wild card. Maybe 8 wins could get you that wild card, and you could afford to lose a game. But I could see us beating the Bears. I could see us beating the Philadelphia Eagles possibly again. Because, I mean, the Giants played an awful game against Philly, and Philly played a terrible game. And it was still a close game, but we still came out with the victory. And we'll see, man. If we can win a couple of games in a row, then I'll start talking about maybe having a chance. But right now, it's not looking good.
Yeah. This is it. This is the stretch, man. This is the final stretch.
Yeah, man. This was, I knew this show was going to be a good show. Coming off that win that y'all got. Big loss for the Giants. Quarterback situation looking crazy. I knew this was going to be a jam-packed show. We went damn near 3 hours on this one. And it didn't feel like that. It felt like a
Come
good
on, man.
hour,
You
20,
already
30
know
minutes.
how it just flies by. That's why I said that 48 hours ain't going to be that bad.
Yeah, it really wouldn't be that bad. We just got to do this about 12 times or something like that.
Yo, I'm telling you, you would have to just break it down into sections.
Yeah, like 4 hours on quarterbacks, 4 hours on. Yeah, I know what you're saying for sure. I like that. I definitely like that idea, man. Before we get up out of here, man, let's get some biceps in the chat, man. Y'all know what it is. Left side.
Strong side.
And you guys are definitely the strong side. The Giants are sitting over here on the weak side playing weak side linebacker. We need some help from the strong side here, man. And hopefully we can beat you all guys. Week 18, that's going to be a fantastic matchup. I was talking to the Beard off camera earlier. I'm going to bring the Beard on after Week 18 that Monday for the Giant overreaction after we play his Washington football team. That should be a really good one. I'm going to try to line up Diggy on the 27th. I'm trying to get Ash Money in the building one time. I got to get Tim from Online Big Blue, and maybe we can get Bad Dog on here. I know Mondays are tough for Bad Dog, and Mondays are tough for my man Kid Blue, who I was trying to get on. But we definitely going to be bringing in some more content creators on the Giant overreaction. Y'all know what it is, man. We appreciate the biceps. Appreciate y'all sticking around with us, man, through this episode. Almost 3 hours in the bank. I'm about to get on some NBA 2K, maybe a little bit of Apex Legends here, eat some dinner. Any last words from you, the Beard?
Nah, man, just shout out to everybody once again. You know what I'm saying? We wouldn't be able to do this without y'all. We appreciate all the love, all the support. Shout out to everybody who's watching us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. I mean, this is, you know what I'm saying, like, we love this. These Tuesday shows are always fun because, you know what I'm saying, we can kind of like just, let you guys guide us as to where we're going to go with the topic of conversation. So definitely big shout out to everybody in the chat. Keep your eyes open, your ears peeled. Y'all never know what's going. Is that what happens? Do you keep your ears peeled? Yeah. Keep your eyes open and your ears peeled.
Sure.
You never know what Awthentik and the Beard are going to do next.
That's big facts right there. We got a lot in the works, man. We're going to close out this 2021 season with a bang, man. Y'all stay tuned. Appreciate y'all pulling up, man. Check us out on Thursday for the preview show we're going to be doing for Week 14. That one should be really good with Jake Fromm getting the start and Washington football team looking to get their 6th consecutive win in a row against those Dallas Cowboys. Shout out to the gang in the building, man. Y'all know what it is, man. Keep raising that bar. Keep living those dreams, man. Y'all know what it is, man. Awthentik in the Beard. Left side, strong side. We always in the building. We will see y'all on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Y'all be good. Peace.